Every season should be better than the last.
It's time for some more Overwatch League. Fasten your seatbelt.
You guys excited?
This is where it gets out of control. Welcome to the Overwatch League.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 2 of the Overwatch League 2019 season. I am Achilleos, joined by Wolf. It has been quite a journey for these teams, looking to take the saves today. For you and I, Wolf, traveling from South Korea to bring you guys the action here today.
I'm really loving the atmosphere here in the venue. We've got so many fans day after day coming in to watch the Overwatch League. Really happy to be a part of it.
Absolutely, and man, do we have a good match to kick things off. Houston Outlaws going to be going up against Toronto Defiant, one of our new expansion teams coming in. A lot of Korean players on this that you and I are very familiar with that maybe some people don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, the Defiant come in as the core of O2. And this is a squad that a lot of people haven't really been able to take a close look at just yet. This comes from the core of O2, which was a squad that made the finals in Season 1 of Korea Contenders. And the core of that roster built out what began this roster. And as we're going to take a look at some veterans coming back, as Envy will be returning to this roster as well. A lot of people are looking at this team saying it's a little bit of a weaker team, but I don't think that's going to be true. I think they might actually surprise a lot of people tonight.
Well, they very well could, but we have one of our longer standing teams as their opponents here. It's the Houston Outlaws. They have made some additions. One addition, I guess we could say, with Dante joining that roster, kind of filling the gap. The meme always about not having a Tracer player. Now he's here to play.
That's right. Oh, an incredible Tracer player. He fills the gap. Houston needed a player like this in their roster. Now, it's not really a Tracer meta right now, but Sombra is on the rise, and I feel like those skill sets he's had on the Tracer will certainly carry over when Sombra is required. And it's also about that pre-existing synergy that the rest of the Outlaws have. They've played an entire season of the Overwatch League already. They've built that team synergy. And sometimes making minimal changes is the best type of change at all. That way you can keep what you've built already and expand upon it.
That's very true, but guys, I think it's time to go ahead and take a look at our squads. Kicking things off is one of our newest teams. Let's go ahead and bring a warm welcome to the Toronto Defiant.
Toronto Defiant coming in as one of our expansion teams, a full Korean roster. Veterans of the Overwatch League, Neko, Asher, and Envy joining the core of O2 here. And it's going to be a roster that I think a lot of people may not have recognized these faces today, but by the end of the Overwatch League, you will know that these are some of the best players you may never have heard of.
Yeah, I mean, Monty going to be the only one on the desk kind of throwing his hat in the ring for this squad to come out on top. Certainly against Houston, like we were talking about, that pre-existing synergy could be a tough task for them, but with this core of O2 Ardent coming in, backed by Roki from X6, they might be able to find some success, but their opponents on the day, you guys know them, you love them. It's the Houston Outlaws.
One of the big fan favorite squads here of the Overwatch League. A team that has, had middling success in our inaugural season, but coming into the 2019 season here, they're looking to change all of that with this roster that stays mostly the same. They filled the Tracer problem, which will become relevant, I think, as the season goes on. We've got Jake, who's toured the world as a commentator during the offseason, now returning as a pro once again. No doubt that experience has given him a lot to look back on and to improve his play moving into this season.
Take a look here at the starting six. Dante, the newest member, will be there, backed up by those familiar faces of, the likes of Raucus, Jake, Muma, Spree, and Boink. Can they take down the Koreans? That would be a very good way to start off the season here for the Outlaws. Try to shut down some of that newer talent.
That is going to be a tough order, a tall order, in my opinion.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the map set presented by Toyota and see where we'll be going in this series. We'll be kicking things off on Nepal for control. Then moving into Numbani, followed up by Volskaya, and potentially rounding things out with Route 66 unless we can make it to that 5th map tiebreaker. And honestly, for me, this is a bit of a coin toss match here, Wolf. It could go either way.
Well, it's a good map for Mooma. We know he likes the Orisa on Sanctum, so it could come into play here. The tank matchup, I think, really will define how this first map is going to go as we head to that first point unlock. It's so tense, right? This is a new expansion team in the Defiant. Mostly untested contenders players here making up this roster. Never played on a stage like this before. It's got to be feeling pretty tense on that side of the stage.
Absolutely, players getting ready to assemble these comps. We have seen a lot of diversity so far, even just in the first day of the Overwatch League yesterday. Tracer has been kind of inching her way back into the meta, so whether or not we're gonna get some of that from Dante, might have to wait and see. For now, we'll be hovering over on that Zarya, so might just be the 3-3 comps coming up from both sides, but maybe Jake changing it up a little bit with that Mei.
Certainly possible. We'll have to wait and see if it's a serious Mei or not here. As he comes out of the gate, we have seen a lot of comps with Reinhardt Mei, especially on Nepal in Korea in the past. And it looks like he is gonna stick with it here, so Jake Mei out the gates.
Yeah, and on the other side, Ivy with a Hanzo, Envy coming in with a Pharah. So going to be a triple DPS set up here for the Defiant with Stellar also operating on that Sombra. Rocket's going to be coming down from above. Mooma getting tagged up just a little bit, but so far no meaningful damage to be found.
Not a lot of range damage to deal with this far right now on the Outlaws. They are in a tight spot here. It's hard for these Rockets to find their mark.
Shooting him in straight off the corner, getting a couple tags in, over halfway now to that barrage. Getting closer and closer, but Houston Outlaws will have control of the point, at least to kick things off, so they will go ahead and lock this one down. Yakpung now starting to inch his way forward, sapping out where he can. Ball comes up, that's gonna be the goal. As the Rockets, he's gonna get picked immediately as that ultimate comes out. Not gonna find anything, but Mooma is able to fire back and find a kill onto the enemy main tank, so Yakpung out of the fight. Barrage coming down, they weren't ready for it, the D-Matrix wasn't there. Noxpree out of the back takes down Mooma. The tank line shattered from the side of the Houston Outlaws, but they're still holding on. They have that sound barrier in, will be able to stay alive, and now they can clean up the kills.
It's looking really good for the Outlaws here. They have this fortified position with the Mei wall and the tight space within this control point. It's got walls on it, right? It's tough for the rocket barrage to actually be effective. It's tough to actually get into this entrenched position for the Defiant. They have now the Dragon Strike, and that's going to be one way they could break this open. Very strong against these enclosed spaces. Paired with the EMP, this has to be their moment. This is their opportunity right now.
It's going to be the Dragon Strike coming through. The EMP is out already, finding 3 kills off the bat. It'll be an easy cleanup here for the Defiant, as they can go ahead and start gaining control of this point. Over 50% for the Houston Outlaws. Not a bad start for them, but they have to regain control. You can crucially see Toronto Defiant about to have 3 ultimates online with that Primal Race coming
Stellar,
up.
his signature hero has always been the Sombra. That was his main hero on O2 already, and back in Contender Season 1. He's bringing it here in the Overwatch League. He opens up the point. The barrage didn't work out, but that was the tool they needed to grab this point once again. This grab now is what the Outlaws are trying to utilize here.
Yeah, Rockets getting tagged there by the Rockets. Will be safe. On the approach, grabs on Surge online, ready to go. A lot of damage coming through. Will just go ahead and throw down that grab, locks up Yakpung by himself. 8 pushes forward, pops the Transcendence. Will be able to keep him alive. Now they're going to be cleaning up the kills. This attack from Houston Outlaws not going to be working out.
A bit trigger happy there was the grab coming out from Dante. Unfortunately, just not catching many of the members of the Defiant. With Yakpung having the Primal Rage available there, he's totally safe in Toronto. Not only hold the point, but build further the ultimate. We will see the Tracer swap here from Dante, though, and this is what the fans have been waiting for. The Tracer problem, is it solved? That question will be answered right now.
Gonna find out, but if he gets hacked, could get picked off very quickly. Even so, still not that much range damage to try to deal with Envy. Hack coming down. Oh, Jake makes it barely into that ice block, but he is still surrounded. Wall comes up as he tries to stay alive. Ivy has already picked off Dante in the meantime. Jake under fire, gets that right click onto Stellar, but he'll be okay. Can pick up the Mega Pack and get right back into the fight. And be playing here on the low ground. Barrage is set and ready to go, but he does not have to use it. The Houston Outlaws are trying to retreat. Spree looks like he'll barely be able to hold on to his back. No, will get knocked out right at that last second.
This is a disaster for the Outlaws. They don't have tools to break open the point, and they don't have time. We see Jake with a desperate swap over the Soldier 76. He knows the Blizzard wasn't really going to be effective. to approach that and try to take this back. It's really just desperation here now. They've got one more chance. If Boink can get the sound barrier, that's their only real way to take this point if you could time it well, but they're gonna have to live long enough for him to get that in the first place. EMP already ready.
Dante's already gone. Ivy picks him yet again. The Tracer not finding much success, only 39% of that pulse bomb. EMP gonna be thrown in the barrage, coming down, and instantly Moonland disappears. Ivy will be the only cat clear on the side of the Toronto Defiant so far, as they just clean up the scraps of the Houston Outlaws. Should be able to close this one out unless Dante can tag in, but even then, seem to be fairly hopeless. 153% the first round of the poll going the way of Toronto.
And this is not the first time this week in our 2019 season that we have seen Sombra be the key hero in a lot of these matchups. And even though the strategy, the plan here for the Houston Outlaws, well prepared, get inside the village itself, inside that house where the control point is, use the May walls to minimize the approach angles for something like the Pharah. It was a good idea in practice, but they were never able to really track and find where Stellar was approaching on the Sombra. Those hacks, those EMPs tore the Outlaws' defense apart. They lost control to the point where were never able to stabilize after that.
Well, Houston Outlaws gonna have to try to bounce back. And guys, if you haven't done it yet, go get your all-access pass. Watch your unique player POVs. Check out all those stats. I know I've been using that on my phone in the back room.
Yeah.
Watching the games. But here we
Same
go.
here.
Changing it up a little bit is the Defiant. Envy going to be over onto the Sombra this time. Otherwise, looking more towards that 3-3 style.
Yeah, 3-3 with the Sombra basically here, replacing the D.Va. The D.Va versus Sombra has been the flex right now.
And that's going to be fine. They don't need the D.Va because there's no Zarya on the side of the Houston Outlaws, so denying something away like a Graviton Surge, not going to be as important. Obviously, the Barrage, still going to be a crucial thing to try to block out, but we'll see how they play around that. Houston Outlaws again, starting the cap. Will get pushed off very quickly. Rolling through, Muma. Oh, he's just going to find the opening kill here onto Stellar with a grapple hook. Just rolls him over.
This is a great look for the Houston Outlaws because they can build up this ult economy. Now this comp really needs it, especially with the Mercy here involved.
Get a couple kills coming through. Jake getting that last one there onto Yakpung. So despite the initial cap here for the Toronto Defiant, seems like they're going to be losing out on this point very quickly, as Muma is just on a killing spree right now.
Watching Jake also in that moment where he had very low health was still able to maximize damage while staying safe. That's the sign of a great player who's got really good game sense, knowing this is a risk he could take to get those last few rockets in when he's hovering around 40 health, help secure that point. See the reapproach here for the Defiant right now, nearly to the Graviton Surge. There's no D.Va to eat it, so it should be a big one. They need to make sure they do it with full energy. So if they fail here, the Outlaws have such a massive advantage. So this push is the push. It has to work.
Raj ready to go in a decent angle right now. Is Jake dropping down? We'll go ahead, let it loose. That's going to be Ivy disappearing before he can get that grab online. We'll lose out onto Spree's mech, but otherwise seems like Houston Outlaws doing a good job of maintaining control of this point to try to even things up. The boot back coming through. 8's off the side. The rest of them will just go ahead, take a dip.
And this is a map. This is a map here where you don't have that enclosed space to get maximum value out of the EMP. Envy holds it now, but it's not going to get the same value Stellars did just previously when there's more space to work with for the Houston Outlaws. When this pharmacy here that they're running has so much space, it's very, very difficult to engage. Toronto's about to have the big six ultimates online, but the utilization here is not going to be easy with Houston's positional advantage.
Need to make sure they're not getting picked off. A lot of damage coming through from Jake with those rockets, building his way up now. But the 50% to the next one. Oh, dropping him straight on top of rockets. Didn't see it coming. Will be able to pick him off, but is that going to be enough to turn the point here in favor of the Defiant? The res is there from point. They put him back into the mix, but now they lose out on Muma in the front line. The res is burned, so they cannot get that Hammond back into the fight. Ivy going low. Keeps himself alive, still holding on to the grab. High energy on this Zarya is melting people left and right. And Toronto Defiant, it seems like they should be able to take this point.
Yeah, that's a great usage of the EMP to start the fight there. Just kill a single target. He knows that the Zenyatta is the one that's going to answer for him. Takes him out early, so once they get the kill there onto Raucus, it's an easy flip. Now, Muma, though, buying a lot of time.
And this is what you want to do. If you're a Hammond player, you go high, you swing around. Don't worry about the damage. Just delay and try to get closer and closer to that OT. The flip comes in only 20% right now for Toronto.
The most impressive part of this for the Defiant, though, is they do it with only 3 ultimates. Realistically here, they have a great opportunity to hold the next few pushes coming through from the Outlaws if they can continue to be ult efficient, which means using your ultimates to get the maximum amount of value. Envy here, just looking for a backline pick on the Raucus.
Yeah, pushing forward, spraying away, takes him lower and lower, but oh, Raucus, he comes up with the kill. Had the support there from Spree, but it didn't really even matter. Yakpung now In onto the point, Graviton Surge is going to be thrown in. He's got the Shatter, but he's hacked out, can't use it for the moment. No one going to be going down. The barrage coming out from Jake, not going to be able to find any picks. Shatter gets the hit. That's going to be Boink knocked down to the back line. They pick him off very swiftly as Ivy scoops up the kill. Toronto still in control, trying to extend this, trying to get the 2-0 onto Paul, but Houston Outlaws, they keep pushing forward. Raucus has that Transcendence up, keeping everybody else in the fight. Spree comes up with the kill, crucially onto Yakpung.
Hey, Envy here with the McCree swap as well. He's done a massive amount of damage already, needing to finish off these targets. He's just not able to make it happen, though. It looks like Houston will be able to flip this. Now Toronto in a terrible spot. The approach here, they've got no tools to flip it, and there's mines.
Loki manages to tag in. That's going to be the EMP throwing down, catching most of the members on the side of Toronto. Defiant 3, going to be hacked out. They're still able to trade back a little bit. Jake going to be raised back into the fight by Boink. Mooma going to be the only one dead at the moment here from the side of the Houston Outlaws, but he can rejoin very quickly. The Deadeye is up. Envy on the side. He's looking for a target for the pharmacy. He's hiding behind the pillar just so dang well. Still, will be able to get that shot as Spree gets taken out of the mech. And then back, that nuisance of a Sombra, firing away, the flip, nearly there. Houston Outlaws trying to hold on to this one. They know that OT bar is going to start plummeting. Jake clears in another barrage, finds Envy, but they lose two, and the flip will be there. Toronto regain control.
Toronto's got control, a narrow hold here to get this point back into their favor. They don't have a great composition to hold it with here, but support ultimates will be online. As the Outlaws approach, if they can build Dante's last 30% for that EMP, that's going to be their best option here to get this point unlocked. Otherwise, Mooma, perhaps with a pin kill, is how they could get this open as well.
Yeah, multiple swaps there. Mooma over to the Ryan, as you say. Boink over onto the Lucio now.
Look, Dante hiding in the back as well. You can see on that mini-map.
Sprays coming out. Aid keeping everybody topped up. Has that Coalescence ready to go. Dante snaps back. Translocator. We're all tied up, 99 to 99. Mooma looking for the pin, gets a hit there onto the mech. Sound barrier going to be coming down from Toronto as they try to stay in the fight. EMP's out, it denies away all the shields and axe everybody. Mooma finds one, Raucus gets the other. That's going to be the fun going back through the Houston Outlaws. Looking to tie this up on the pole and extend this to one final round. And my God, it looks like they're just about to do it. Toronto still fighting tooth and nail to extend this, but Aid's going to go down. Envy will get popped out of that mech and dealt with very shortly after. And there you go. We're going to a third round. We're going to Sanctum.
I mean, Houston, they have always been a team to come up with unique strategies to understand how to counter enemy compositions, and that is precisely what they did. They're heading into our second round there, having the more wide open space to play around the Sombra that we already saw on Village coming through from the Defiant. That was the start, right? And when things got out of hand, let's watch this again. This is the winning moment here as Dante comes in on the Sombra. Hidden, no one knows where he is. And he hits
shield.
Every single piece of that shield. Bit of an early jump there for Roki on that sound barrier. And Dante's ready to catch it immediately. Hiding, we saw it on the minimap just before. Understanding the best approach, knowing that was their win condition. He executes it flawlessly. A good look for the Houston Outlaws here on their first match.
Very, very good, but can they close it out? Can they get that win? One step closer to finding victory in their first series of the 2019 season. Jump over to the side, Mooma joining in. That's gonna be the first kill coming through as Jake finds Stellar, takes him out with that shift, mace to the face. Houston Outlaws again looking like they're gonna have established control of the point to start.
And with mirror compositions like these, getting the first point is so critical. You're always gonna have that ult advantage, barring a huge mistake. Knows the positioning of Mooma as well. He's actually a little bit off to the side here so we can get that extra jump damage. There it is.
Oh, yep, straight in behind, drops down. That's gonna be the cap coming through. Mooma just gonna be zapping away, gets stunned up and taken down. Stellar will be able to find the kill. This could be a fast flip if Toronto Defiant can capitalize on this pickup. Now Boink going down, looking to finish off Raucus, will be able to do so as Envy gets himself a double kill here. Just clean up time, Ivy goes right off the side of the map. The rest of the Toronto Defiant gonna be going over to the point to start getting that cap coming through.
Both Lucios just always hounding this point as well when the fight is won. We saw just previously Boink was the one to flip it. This time it's going to be Roki heading over. But now the tables have turned. Ivy with 100 energy, maximizing that damage. Now he's got a grab online. It's going to be very difficult for the Houston Outlaws to come in here and take this point away.
Yeah, nearly having that bigger bang ready to go. Spree just a little bit further behind. We will hear that primal rage coming up from Yakpung. Graviton Surge locking him up. The bomb is out. Looking for the picks, and Envy is going to get himself a double kill. And Dante went right into the pit just prior. Now Raucus run down. That'll be the cleanup here on the fight. Is Spree just go off the side. Does not want to get staggered in that Baby Diva form.
Now, Aid using his trance there, I think is the only overextension Toronto made in that fight, because now he's not going to have the answer to the opposing grab from Dante as they come through. You can see the positioning here on the mini-map. Lucio far at the back here to make sure he can get that sound barrier off. Rookie needs it.
Bubble through as they push their way up. Dante looking for a moment to invest his grab on Surge. So far, not going to find it. Maybe doesn't need it. They find an initial pickoff here onto Ivy. Yakpung dangerously low, just trying to escape, trying to get some healing, but there's not much to be found, especially as 8 gets taken down. Grab's going to come out. They lock up the solo. Winston will be able to finish him off. So a bit of cleanup here for the Houston Outlaws to try to regain control of the point. Toronto Defiant pushing their way up now over 60%. They need to get control here into the pit. Muma gonna get pooped out, but they will be able to win a fight.
And they do buy a lot of time, the Toronto Defiant do. The Houston Outlaws do finally get control here now. They can breathe a sigh of relief as the Toronto Defiant have to lick their wounds and return. The leading member here this time has to be Yakpung because they don't have many ultimates. He's gonna have to buy time and tank, so the rest of those could be built for a follow-up, which as you can see here, he leads in.
Sound barrier to open things up. Yakpung gonna be the first one taken down. That's gonna be the lane that Primal Rage crucially. Now they will chase for it all the way back to the dropship. Get some extra kills.
And you can see that the Toronto Defiant are just trying to jump off the side as fast as possible so no one gets staggered. And by staggering, I mean if they get longer death timers if they die later here. So it's important to jump off the side and reset as quickly as possible and also avoid feeding unnecessary ult charge over the Houston Outlaws. Regardless, they're sitting at 5 ultimates at the moment, so this next attack's gonna be pretty rough.
There's only one person to feed it over to. That's gonna be Boink.
Yeah.
Just use that sound barrier in the last fight. Let's see Muma going into the back line, trying to cause some disruption. Primal Rage gonna be coming out. Ground down Surges there. Envy throwing the bomb into the back, looking for the picks. It's gonna be a 1-for-1 here from the D.Va. Self-destructs. 2 picks, however, here still for the Houston Outlaws as they maintain control. Now a third is free, gets himself a double, taking out Yakpung, but pushing forward, zapping away, trying to get that next Primal Rage. And the Transcendence gonna be committed by Aid. That's so crucial.
Huge
that might just cost
there.
them the map.
Yeah, that's a huge mistake. I don't think they're gonna be able to flip it without it. Dante's holding that grab. That's the most important ultimate they needed, and they don't have it.
Gonna go ahead, use his Transcendence to open up the fight. Dante coming back, grabs ready to go, throws it down, gonna be taken away. Envy snatches that one up. Could this be the turning point? It's 99%. Houston Outlaws just trying to close this one out, but they're so darn low. Dante and Point both gonna be eliminated. Muma trying to stay alive. Jake offers him up a little bit of armor, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. It seems like we're gonna be going again, Wolf, as the flip gets ready to come through for the Defiant.
Dante, we had his first person view. You can see he thought the Matrix was fading. It was razor thin, the timing on that when he tossed it through, and it just barely did hit when the Matrix was still out there for Envy. And it turns out this was so lucky for the Defiant because they didn't have that trance. That was the key ultimate on the side of the Houston Outlaws, and it's just a big play by Envy that opens this back up for them. They could still potentially win this map now. The ultimate's in their favor.
Grab ready to go. Ivy pushing forward, looking to build up that energy, and he will be able to do so. 100 ready to go. So fear this Zarya, especially if you're Spree. He's trying to poke his way out, burned down below half HP. Grab gonna be thrown down, does lock him up. Bombs out from Spree, looking for the picks, not gonna be able to find anything. Sound barrier in from Toronto Defiant, helping to keep them alive. Primal Rage is here from Yakpung. He's looking for a knockoff, hasn't been able to find it yet. Steak gets the corner here on the Dante. Point comes up with a boom there, Aid going off the side. Yakpung rejoins, has the leap in time, goes right back up, but Point gets a double kill. Sends him off the side, and I think that is gonna be enough to close this one out. The flip coming through. Double OT again, but Houston Outlaws looking to kick off their season with a win on the ball.
Houston Outlaws have looked so prepared in this opening match tonight in terms of the strategies we're seeing, the coordination as well. This is very, very impressive to see. If you're a Houston's fan, you're going to be enjoying this one.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
is. First map out of the way, Nepal going the way of the Houston Outlaws. Toronto Defiant, however, putting up one heck of a fight. Very close. Like I said, coin flip as this match right now could go either way.
It certainly could. I really have to give the Outlaws a lot of props for the clear preparation in terms of strategy that they brought into this. Jake kind of being this jack-of-all-trades player who could play the Pharah, can also then swap over to the Mei. So much depth in this roster already.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of the series pans out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, already very exciting first map. That's just control. We still have a lot to go and maybe even that tiebreaker. But there is going to be some changes on the side of the Outlaws, some substitutions to be found. We will have Linkser joining the roster on stage, subbing in for Jake.
Oh, that is, I think, a sub that makes a lot of sense. Jake kind of playing the niche roles there on control, but bringing in more of a veteran here, as Coolmat will also be coming in for Spree.
So looking to find some success. Could be map specific, perhaps. We'll find out what the plan is going to be when we do jump onto Numbani, see what kind of comps these guys are going to throw together. Already a lot of diversity, again, like we saw just here on Nepal. I think that's going to continue. Numbani does allow for a lot of different styles.
Yeah, and we haven't seen a ton of it yet with the Genji on Numbani, but we've seen a lot of it leading up to this in contenders. So
Happen.
I would love to see it. Linkser subbed in. Anything could happen, but a man could dream.
If not in this series, then maybe in our other one when we come in for San Francisco Shotgun's Architect, of course, a fantastic Genji, but we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with that. We'll see what these guys have prepared. Already, though, seems like they were ready for this matchup. Toronto Defiant basically just trying to catch up, trying to find their footing here now that they are finally on the big stage.
We already saw Stellar running the Sombra, which was, what you and I experienced in Contenders Korea Season 1 throughout the entirety of that season. He was subbed in and out based on the map, based on whether they wanted to use Sombra or not. I think he'll be more of a generalist player in the Overwatch League in this meta, where Sombra is not a must pick, but rather a little bit of a niche pick. But we'll see if that continues. But I was glad to see that he actually was coming in on day one, playing his signature hero, impressing everyone.
Yeah, fantastic to see. I mean, Sombra kind of, really starting to work her way back into the meta. And it's good to see, again, that these guys can go back to those familiar picks. But let's go ahead and take a look at Muma on that Wrecking Ball, on that Hammond, whatever your cup of tea is, whatever you want to call him. He was doing some serious work on Shrine specifically. You saw he had that 5-kill streak right off the bat.
He created a lot of disruption as well, and that's the sign of a really good Hammond player, is one that can actually get in there and basically ruin the enemy's composition, their concept, what their positioning is, and he's able to pick up the kills as well, and that's what made him a big star player there on Nepal.
Yeah, some back and forth between him and Yakman, especially on Sanctum with the Winston play coming through, but in the end, Muma able to come out on top alongside his team. So a very good way to start off the series, but there's plenty more Overwatch to be played before they can walk away with a victory. This could swing either way. Toronto Defiant, they're not going to be going down without a fight. That's the Korean way.
And we always have to add the caveat that Control is the matchup that usually goes a little bit crazy, right?
Sure.
And it's not always indicative of how the series will go. So certainly something to keep in mind as we enter this zone. It was not a dominant win for Houston by any means.
Yeah, well, something else to keep in mind, of course, is going to be the map set. Kick things off with Nepal. Now we'll be moving over onto Numbani for our hybrid map. We're already talking about it, a lot of different options that you could have for this. Genji, as you were mentioning, something like the Widowmaker is also something that could come through, as well as that Hanzo Pharah that we've already seen.
Yeah, Sombra also very, very strong on Numbani, so Stellar definitely going to be utilizing that, you have to imagine, but already the Outlaws had a counter plan ready on our first map of Nepal, so maybe running the Pharah on defense is something we could see them do on A, and then swap over to more normal 3-3 as the map progresses.
Yeah, would not be shocked if we just see Defiant go straight back to that Pharah Sombra. Hanzo that we saw at the beginning of Nepal was working quite well for them, so maybe try to replicate that success on Numbani. We'll see what these guys have prepared as we get ready to jump in for this second map and see if Houston Outlaws can move up 2-0 or whether or not Toronto will be able to tie things up and make it a 1-1.
So we head into Numbani now, and we'll see how the setup goes on the defense, because that's the big question. That's been the biggest debate right now in what is, a mostly 3-3, and by 3-3 I mean triple support, triple tank meta. We're seeing the Reinhardt, Zarya dominate. Winston on maps where, high ground verticality is really a big factor, like this one, for example, on A. Or will it be more of a sort of semi-counter to that with the flying Pharah, right, where there's not a lot of damage to be had? We do see Muma on the Symmetra here in the Torbjorn setup right now, but I wouldn't get too excited about that just yet.
We'll see how this is going to evolve as we get closer to the start. 19 seconds out. Toronto Defiant getting set up. Will not be that far up. Nor the Sombra at all on the defense. Will just be the 3-3 with Winston.
Yep, and on the defense here is totally what you'd expect from the Defiant here. Just want to maximize ult efficiency here, build greater ultimates by their defenders' advantage against the attackers. Links are just on the Sombra here. We will have Dante instead on the Sombra himself. And I was talking about this earlier. This is something we expected to see from him. You know, he solves the Tracer problem, quote unquote, but the Sombra role is very similar.
Trying to spot out, maybe see if there is that Sombra. They don't catch Dante yet. He's made his way in and behind the squad. He's hovering underneath at the moment. Puts his way around. First tick, halfway there. They will be able to jump down, start contesting this one. Shots coming in. Dante has a good angle there onto A, takes him down to about half HP. Armor coming through from Stellar does help keep him alive. Boom up onto the high ground. Yakpung gonna match, but he doesn't want to stay up there. He's already down below half. Bubble comes down, rejoins, stuns in, no follow-up there from the Houston Outlaws to try to capitalize on the Winston, and it's actually going to be the first kill going the way of 8 as he takes out Linkser.
Linkser's been the primary target here for the Toronto Defiant as he's stepping forward to look for these stuns. He's caught away from the rest of his squad. They collapse on him. Now the Houston Outlaws are the exact opposite place of where they want to be. They're already in the street space. This is going to be a long stagger. They're going to feed over a whole grab to Ivy on their first attempt with no ticks gained. This is a massive start for the Toronto Defiant.
Yep, very nicely done on that first volley, not surrendering a tick at all. Ultimates pretty much ready to go. Primal Rage and that self-destruct about to be online. Houston Outlaws going to be lagging behind a little bit.
Their initiation will be the EMP, and so it's going to be on Aid and Roki to make sure they're positioned in such a way that they can use their support ultimates afterwards to counter it, to protect their teammates while they're hacked. So Aid and Roki, all eyes on them right now. Oh, the stun though!
Stun on Dante, but he's still going to be able to use that Transcendence, or the EMP with the Transcendence does come through from Aid in time to keep the team safe. Will not be able to pick off that Zenyatta. Houston Outlaws trying to push their way in onto the point. 8 under some fire. Takes his way into the back. Seems like he's going to be able to stay alive as that Graviton Surge comes down, locks him up. Double bomb out from the Divas. No picks to be found from either side, but Dante does manage to finish off Yakpung. Sound barrier now out from Roki, keeping the ball rolling as they try to hold off the onslaught here from Houston Outlaws. But Muma, he's going bananas right now. Double kill over to him as Roki and Stellar both go down. They'll break their way onto the point. They will take this for themselves.
Such an incredible play by the Houston Outlaws squad in general. Communication was absolutely key. As we saw, Aid hit the trance immediately during the EMP, so the EMP doesn't get much value. However, they're able to identify his position down just to the left of Boink right there in that room. And they decided as soon as the trance wears off, he was hiding there, he was alone, so they tried to figure out how can we collapse on this 6v2, kill him.
EMP again going to be out from Dante, catching multiple members on the side of Toronto Defiant. Be a 1-for-1 exchange so far. Now 8 starting to trade back as Dante will go down. Coolmat escaping back over to the spawn room. Yakpung isolating a couple members, pushing them away from the spawn to try to get those kills.
This is a bit disjointed, unfortunately, for the Outlaws right now, so they will lose control of the payload for a moment here.
Ivy's so far away, though.
Yes.
Can't really afford to play that far forward without having those Zarya bubbles, without having that Graviton Surge.
Yep, they will just have to retreat back, and Ivy is close to the grab that you just mentioned. Raucus has the answering Transcendence, so they need to somehow bait that out, somehow make him feel the pressure to use that ultimate to keep his teammates alive. Rally is going to make it even less likely. We'll see Raucus push that button early.
Rally just to get everybody armored up. Start coming around the boss. That's going to be the jump forward there from Yakpung. Grab ready to go from Ivy. Waiting for a moment, throws it straight in onto the cart, locks him up, they'll push forward and be able to find some kills. Bomb to the back for good measure as Coolmat will be taken down. And that'll be a clean up there from the side of Toronto.
Raucus was under pressure in the back line, didn't feel his trance would get to his teammates in time, and so held it there. Unfortunately, not using it in the moment where it was necessary when Ivy tossed down the grab. So the Houston Outlaws walk away from this team fight with, you know, still holding that Transcendence, but not having it when it was most necessary is really going to halt them here halfway through the street space to point B.
Yeah, now have to break their way through. Sound barrier, Transcendence ready to go. Rally's going to be out from the side of Toronto. Coolmat holding the trigger on this self-destruct. He's going to be ready to go for it at any given time. Just waiting for that opportunity. Moving with a Primal Rage. Be knocking some people around. Stellar gonna get in that corner. They managed to find the kill onto the break now. Isolating Aid, trying to knock him off the side of the map. Primal Rage will be expiring. Drop back down. Both tanks pushing forward to get rid of this enemy Zenyatta. They will be able to find it.
And
meantime, tank line from Toronto Defiant absolutely shattered.
Muma's had an incredible night on the Winston, or afternoon, I should say. Still early here. We normally cast at night.
That's very true.
But he's had an incredible night on the Winston. His primal control there, making sure that he was knocking the Brigitte away from him so the stun couldn't lock him down, was very impressive there, as we saw that first-person view. Very difficult for the Defiant without this grab yet to hold this at B. It looks like they're going to contest it regardless.
Push their way forward, up onto the high ground here. Dante, high energy, just going to throw in the grab straight into Envy's face. A bold move, but works out quite nicely for him. Self-destruct will go ahead, knock him out, but he's got it. Posing self-destruct to invest so he can make it back into the back. Now it's going to be Dante at point going down. As Toronto Defiant start to turn this fight around and regain control of the cart. The kills will be there. Coolmat goes off the side. Houston Outlaws have to reset again. A minute remaining on the clock.
Dante had a specific place he wanted to launch the grab, but he was distracted and interrupted by Envy, who snuck up behind him and used his rocket thrusters to knock him around. He saw an opportunity to turn around and grab there, but it wasn't the ideal grab they were looking for, unfortunately. That's a huge tool now lost for the Houston Outlaws. And right before B, it's a long walk back from spawn. So it's going to be tough here for them to finish this one out. This is basically the last fight they get. This is their last chance, or it all ends here.
Yep, stun there on the Yakfeng armor, immediately coming through from Stellar, keep him alive. That's going to be another primal range here from Muma. Dropping onto the low ground, Ivy the first one to fall. Dante finds that kill. More shots coming through, more smacks from this Winston, but the Transcendence is there. And Aiden will be able to keep his team topped up and in this fight, in control of the cart. Starting to inch forward again. 3.5 meters away with 12 seconds remaining. Houston Outlaws need to push this over the finish line. Now under a meter. They might just get there. Point 14. Toronto Defiant keep inching off. But now the kills there. Envy popped out. Yakpung going to be dead. They kill off the baby Diva. They're only able to answer one back on the link. So now with Roki and Aid both falling, this will be the completion onto B. Houston Outlaws hold on by a thread, but they've only got 1:25 on the clock to finish.
Very close call for the Outlaws, but they do it in an ult-efficient manner as well here. Dante still holds this grab, and as they head around this corner, it's going to be very, they're going to have to use it very carefully because they really only have one proper team fight left with the 70 seconds in the time bank right now. So he needs to be patient, needs to wait for that opportunity. Bait out a transform Aid if possible.
Sound barrier to open things up as they push forward. Dante, full energy, melting through Envy, but can't quite finish him off. Grab that search, however, will lock them all out. The bombs into the back. Yakpung's going to be gone. Coleman finds one on the Ivy. Pops out Envy as well. That'll be nearly a wipe here, as Roki is the only one alive at the moment. The cart pushing forward, 45 seconds remaining on the clock. Can Roki tag? No, he cannot. Houston Outlaws get the completion on Nambani with time in the bank. Fantastically done from them, but when we come back from the break, guys, we're going to see how Toronto Defiant fares on their own attack. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're currently halfway through Numbani. Houston Outlaws barely managing to get the completion here on Numbani with just 43 seconds remaining.
Very much a last-ditch attempt there, but I loved the use of the sound barrier coming out from Boyk to get the initiation there, to threaten aid, so that he was under duress, so he had to back off, try to use his trance early, so that the follow-up from Dante, the Graviton Surge, was going to be the way they could close that out. Super decisive from the Houston Outlaws, and that's how they've been playing so far in this match tonight. See if they can keep it up here now on the defenses. We will see the Defiant, no changes, no surprises here with a 3-3. So pretty much mirrored compositions across the board. No Pharah this time, but Jake subbed out. Linkster will just simply remain on the Brigitte.
Yep, just sticking it through. Playing up onto the high ground right now, the majority of the Outlaws, which is exactly where Toronto is starting to sneak their way up from. Pushing up the hallway, now going to be spilling forward, get the stun instantly on the movement, he falls low. Gets healed up, armor pack coming in, let's keep him alive. He'll be rejoining up onto the high ground, leaping down, nice boot, pushes him away, denies away that leap damage. However, Yakpung, very fragile, will jump back, picks up that mega pack, I do believe, to get himself back into the fight. Now going to be rejoining here, working his way forward. Roki going to get picked off. Dante on the high ground, just taking these right-click lob shots, manages to get rid of that enemy Lucio. High energy from him. Now they'll drop down, find the cleanup. Links are the only casualty so far on the side of Houston. They'll get the rest of Defiant, and they can go ahead and stagger out Envy for quite some time.
Look at the difference in ult charge here for Dante and Ivy. He doubles it. He has his ultimate already, and this is a key, facet of Zarya, is that even though, you think of Zarya as her beam can't shoot very far, it's not in fact true. From the high ground, you can hit the targets on the low ground with your left click there. He stays up there, controls that ground, does damage while there's no recourse on the side of the Defiant. He won the fight for them handedly, and now he's got this ultimate to deny their next push.
Fantastic debut from him so far. The Graviton Surge catches all of them right as they try to push forward, but the Transcendence from Aid will keep everybody topped up on the side of Toronto. Still in the fight, no one going down yet. Bombs out from Coolmat, looking for a pickoff, drops it down. That's going to be Ivy taken out now. Yakpung to follow. Tank line shattered again. Chase forward, looking for any kind of stagger they can get. Roki gets a nice boot back, as he will be able to exit with his life intact, it would seem.
They don't want it, though. They don't want him to go with his life intact.
No, they do not.
They've got to back off, though, as once they hit back to spawn. It's a bit risky.
Look at Dante's charge. 80%.
83, and it's looking real rough for the Defiant right now. They have Roki's sound barrier. Maybe one way they could force themselves in there, but Raucus, as long as he doesn't panic here, as long as he's positioned well, he should have the answer for that grab when Ivy comes out.
Grab comes out and catches him again. Same place, fool me once. Gets him the second time now. Bomb into the back, not going to be able to find anything, but Ivy does open things up as Linkster goes down, but it's going to be an exchange, as he will pay for that with his own life. Muma drops onto low ground, just getting healed up. Doesn't want to use that Primal Rage yet. Rejoins, he's looking for aid. Almost takes him out, takes him dangerously low, but he will be able to stay alive, and Yakpung finds Raucus. Primal Rage is out, just looking for a target, jumping back in, gets on top of Dante, taking him lower and lower, but cannot quite get the kill there onto the enemy Zarya. They're in onto the point, the second tick getting ready to come through.
And
a minute, 10 seconds remaining. Toronto Defiant, they need to win this right here. Houston Outlaws, one more chance to go ahead and contest. They push their way back forward. The rally's going to be out from Linkster, armoring up everybody. Grab, thrown down, locks them up right here in the front. Dante going lower and lower. The armor pack helps to keep him alive for a little bit longer, but they will be able to find him in the Brigitte fairly shortly thereafter. And that will be the cleanup, but under a minute on this cap on 8 for Toronto Defiant as they clean up the fight.
And this was the moment. It needed to be the cap there, because that was the one window before Raucus had his Transcend. You can see he sits at 78% right now, where they were able to make that grab work. Ivy held it there for the longest possible time until they were all out in the open to get caught there, and they made it work. But if he failed to hit that, if it was eaten by Coolmat, for example, it all goes wrong from there, and Defiant doesn't get the point. Meager time bank here at just under 3 minutes. They're going to have to keep this rolling. Hiccups, I mean, the Houston Outlaws are going to be feeling great about their chances of taking a 2-0 here.
Dante, seems like this guy's just always got a grab ready to go. Oh, he's just going to throw it straight into Yakpung's face. Locks him up, but no kills to be found. Seems like maybe a bit of a desync here from the squad. Didn't capitalize on that at all. Now Transcendence out from Raucus, so still trying to make the fight work. Coolmat dangerously low, pushes over, Transcendence will catch him, and tops that mech back up. Muma finding the first kill, Stellar will go down. The boot there from Linkster gets rid of Yakpung. Luma traded in the front lines, but kills still coming through for Houston Outlaws as they look to gain control of this card.
A panic grab there from Ivy as well. Definitely not where he wanted to use it. The fight was clearly lost after Raucus pulled the trance. Instead, perhaps backing away, waiting for the next push when they knew when he would not have that counter ultimate there. Might have been the better play, but Toronto Defiant now walk with very few tools forward towards this payload. And it's not going to be easy with high ground control over to the Outlaws around this bus here.
Certainly is not. Dante.
That makes it easier.
Yeah. Getting picked off. Envy coming up with the kill. Nicely done.
Houston knows they just back away. They're not going to commit to a fight here and feed over further ultimate charge. They already know the Defiant have a really weak time bank. There's no reason to take a risk here. Wait for the respawn. Go for the contest on B directly, not out in the open.
Yeah, now it's going to be the drop down. Shatter nearly online here from Muma. It's 11% away. A couple swings of the hammer. He'll have that one online. Yakpung considerably further behind at 48%. Can't quite get the connection, but the Shatter will be able to naturally build up. Muma getting stunned, trying to get the hammer. Not going to be able to find anything on the back of that, though, nor will that self-destruct from Coolmat. He'll get melted out of the mech again right as he gets back through. And this will just be cleanup, it would seem, from Toronto Defiant, unless Houston can pull a miracle out, but they cannot do so.
Even though it was impressive to see him thread the needle there with between life and death with that Shatter, it doesn't amount to anything, as you say, because the positioning was too good for the Defiant. They had the responding trance, and now they're going around this corner here. It's very likely that they can keep this momentum going with the grab advantage they have right now as well. They might be able to get a better time bank. That's what they're looking for here. Houston Outlaws need to make sure they hold that trance like it's dear life.
Yep, bigger bang ready, Shatter online. A lot of tools for the side of the Defiant. Ivy right up into the front, but he's going to be taken down. Had that 100 energy, he was feeling good about it, but instead, it's just going to go ahead and unravel the entire team.
That's identification on the side of the Outlaws that Aid was not ready to deal with this. They tracked his last ultimate usage, which dealt with Muma's Shatter, if you remember, to the last team fight, but that means it's not ready for the ensuing Dante grab. And as a result, Defiant has to reset and come back again. They hold the trance still. Very aggressive positioning here for the Outlaws. They're going to try to collapse.
Yeah, it's just going to be one on the low ground, one on the high ground. Houston Outlaws can drop back down, will continue.
Raucus, though.
Raucus is going to be taken down in the back line.
That's no trance.
Managed to find that one. Ivy going to be traded out. Now the sound barrier out from Houston Outlaws and Defiant as they go ahead and keep fighting this very scrappy battle. Uma up into the front, knocked down below half HP. He's just getting knocked around left and right. Can't quite tell which way is up at the moment. Finally gets his bearings, throws out a fire strike, trying to get that next Shatter online. Coolmat with the self-destruct, manages to find Linkser, but Yakpung with a fire strike of his own takes down Linkser.
It's a disaster for the Defiant. They're just totally losing control here, unfortunately. They do get the grab off of Ivy respawns.
Grabs out, bombs into the front, but everyone's just going to be dead before the explosion really even happens. It's the added bonus of Coolmat's mech, and they might just be able to roll right into the finish line here.
They'll have the respawns, but they're going to have to buy time somehow. It's going to be very close.
Outlaws already with the time advantage if Defiant can get this completion, but Outlaws going to be doing everything they can to deny that one away. Coolmat swapping over Auto the Soldier, 76 to try to rejoin. Raucus pushing forward, Transcendence is up. Defiant do not want this fight. They say, thank you very much for the free support ultimate. Now we will come back in.
Okay, they've got this grab ready. It's looking really rough for the Defiant. It's going to have to be a miracle fight here with 20 seconds.
Raucus picks one off, pushing forward. Dante looking for it. If he can knock Envy out of that mech, it would be absolutely huge for the guards on setup. They cannot do so yet. Aid with that Transcendence, keeps them all topped up. The Shadow from Yakpung, quite big. They managed to find 2 kills. Numa and Dante both going to go down now. Coolmat trying to play up onto the guard, but he's going to be popped out. Aid is popping up. He's got a double kill coming through, and that will be the completion of the map. Toronto Defiant will push us into some OT rounds.
Very close calls there. You know, I mentioned if they run into any hiccups, any bumps on the streets phase, they were going to have big issues getting completion, the biggest of which was right before C, where they were able to, you know, I don't want to say they were able to lose that fight, but they got close to winning it, dropped the ball, Ivy was picked off. I'm going to take a look at a replay here from Yakpung's Shatter, which sets this up for the finish here. Right in the back, no one's keeping track of. You can see the heads of Muma there, and Dante were looking elsewhere, trying to take out Ivy. It's hard to sneak a Reinhardt into the back line, right, to get a pick like that, but in the chaos, you know, if you feel like that's your win condition, you got to take that risk. Yakpung is able to pull it off. But it is still, you know, anyone's game to take. We're talking about time banks that are a minute and a minute 43.
Yep.
Certainly, there's a high chance that even though Toronto starts with 43 seconds, the worst time bank, they certainly can have a great start here and then defend.
Or we get a tie.
Could happen as well.
Could have that draw coming out. We'll see how the approach from Defiant is going to be. I think it's, so far what they're showing us, it's going to be the standard. It's just going to be that 3-3 with a Winston coming through. Houston Outlaws likely to be matching.
Yep, looks that way. Bit surprised we don't see any experimentation here again with Stellar's Sombra. With a minute only, it's tough to build an EMP that quickly against a team as good as the Houston Outlaws, but regardless, they're just not going to take the risk. It has to be this push, essentially. If you lose out here, you're going to be up against Dante's grab faster, and you're never going to get the point. It has to be now. This has to be the fight.
They'll jump into the back. Yakpung going to be looking for Raucus. He'll get that armor pack, keeps him alive. Spamming away with those left clicks, trying to build up for that Transcendence. Already going to be a third of the way there. And be dangerously low to getting knocked out of that back armor pack out. We'll go ahead and top him back up. Yakpung going to be dropping onto the low ground. Nearly that first tick gained. That can be crucial when the time banks are this limited. There's a sliver left to go, and that is going to be theirs. Houston Outlaws have to play in onto the point. Mamuma is going to be the first casualty. He's taken down. Now the onus is on Coolmat, but just like that, he's going to get popped out. Links are going to be taken out. Trying to Defiant. They managed to get one tick. Still 12 seconds left to go before we roll into OT, but I think it's going to get this cap on A-Wolf.
The point is theirs, absolutely. It's going to be the full cap here. No way to contest. You can see on the map, there's just no way they can even get close to getting back in. It's been, in my opinion, on Numbani, a very Numa-dominated tank matchup between him and Yakpung until that moment here in OT. That's when Yakpung really popped off. He got in there, maximized his damage, had the support from Stellar there as well. The armor packs coming through, built up tons of damage that way, and totally controlled the fight. Houston's in trouble now.
Well, they're pushing forward. They want to stop this right here, right now. Toronto have to stay glued to the cart. Coolmat taking that one away. Ivy not going to get any mileage on that Graviton. Now has to build up for another one, and Dante has his waiting in the back pocket. Raucus using the Transcendence to grab us out, catches him right here onto the corner. Looking for the kill. Sound barrier is going to be out from Toronto as they try to hold on. Coolmat with the bomb. Manages to find one pick. Stellar now. Yakpung both going to be eliminated. OT will start ticking away very rapidly. They cannot get back to the cart, and they will be halted right after A. Didn't get very far with that push.
It's time to scoot back to the edge of your seats, Houston Outlaws fans, though, because this is not over yet. The fact they got a cap at all in 1 minute of time is a rough outlook here for the Houston Outlaws. Not to say that it's impossible for them to match it, minute 43, but this is by far not over, or this is far from over.
Yep, just denies that one away. Try to throw it straight down the street, but will not be able to find it. Coolmat, he's not playing around with any of that nonsense.
No, and this is the moment that prevents a longer push, very likely there, with Coolmat eating that Graviton Surge with his defense matrix. That was a key play, because if that goes off, then suddenly it's a more even fight. Not to say it wins Defiant the the match by any means, but would have been a much closer fight after that. So this needs to be as good of an attack for the Houston Outlaws. They basically get 2 tries. You know, Toronto had one chance, one shot at it. If Houston fails the first push, they're still going to struggle because they're going to be down on ultimates, but they're going to get a second shot at life. And getting A and moving just a little bit is all they have to do. So they can experiment, perhaps running non-3-3 comps on the first push and then swap over. But you're always running the risk of giving Ivy that grab, giving Aid the faster Transcendence. When you make a choice like that, it looks like Dante is holding this Sombra for now. And with Coolmat on the D.Va, it's a rare comp to see. We almost never see Sombra and D.Va together. It's usually in this meta the D.Va who flexes over the Sombra.
Oh, already spotted out. Good spam coming through from Envy. So, do know that there is a Sombra in the mix. Translocator going to be thrown down.
Nope, not going to even hack this. Just wants to, just as a safe haven here.
Drop down. Oh, right into the middle of the team. That's going to be Raucus picked off right at the start. Envy going to be knocked out of the mech, and Yakpung, sliver of HP remaining. Trying to stay in the mix here, jumps back up over onto the high ground. Keep himself safe. So far, just going to be the D.Va's knocked out. Now, Linkster, however, will be eliminated. Coolmat taken down. Zap's coming through onto Dante. He will be able to translocate out with his life intact, but Houston Outlaws, they have to reset.
And this is worst case scenario for Houston Outlaws. Look at Aid on his 70% versus Dante at the same amount of ult charge. If he can't hit that EMP before Aid's ready, we've already seen Aid can survive through these, can live through these.
Yep.
So it feels really reminiscent of our first attack for the Houston Outlaws. This is the matchup right now, Sombra versus Zenyatta. That's going to determine whether they win this map.
Going to be very crucial timing. Stellar going to be hacked out. Move back there from Roki. Just push Dante further into the room. Links are going to be taken down. Now Rock is gone. Stellar finds a kill. Knocks Coolmat out. Point's just going to be resetting. They know that they have only one more opportunity to try and get this cap, but even then they still have to advance very slightly to get the win.
Hey, remember last time when Aid got the trance off, he was isolated and he killed afterwards by the Outlaws. That's how they got Aid. Could happen again, depending on how he's positioned. He wants to be at the back so he does not get clipped by that LOS on the EMP. Here we go.
Dante in around
Moves
the back.
away.
Oh, they get
He
put
can't hack.
on the low ground. EMP still going to be ready to go, but no, he jumps back with the translocator as the time starts to roll down. Look at that OT. Final few seconds starting to come in. Muma desperately needing that primal range. Just a little bit further to have that one ready to go. Still going to be taking out Dante. Invest the EMP, but he's going to be taken down. They do manage to find Yakpunk. 2 members gone. Self-destruct in the hallway. Just trying to make it back into that mech. Envy will be allowed to do so, but now Aid is gone. Now Roki's gone. There's no supports available for the Defiant. Transcendence out. Cap getting ready to roll through. Envy, the lone member, going to be popped out. Primal range going to be committed here by Muma. Didn't quite need that, but let's see if they can just go ahead and advance before anyone from Toronto can rejoin.
Envy's staggered here as well. Does get the remake though, just barely. That's gonna buy them some time, but he will get DMAC once again. The rest of his team is coming back, but it's a free push right now for the Houston Outlaws. They've got one shot at this and they have no ultimates to speak of.
Really good delay, self-destruct, and the sound barrier available from the Houston Outlaws, but oh no!
They do not touch the point.
They just don't touch it!
And you know, this is a tough moment where you're trying to get in there and buy the most amount of time, but it was a pretty futile situation either way. You know, if they do touch it, it's not that that's going to save them. That was a 1 game for the Houston Outlaws.
And it was 2-0 the lead. Defiant, can they bounce back?
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Welcome back. It's halftime, and that's what's going down in Toronto right now. Despite their team in the hole 0-2, the fans are there to support their new squad on their opening day here in the Overwatch League. Welcome back to the Blizzard Arena. How's everybody doing? You guys enjoying the show so far? I thought so. Good games, a very close game number 1, and I've got some friends to help me break it down. We've got Zoe and Doa once again. Let's jump right into this, guys, as we look at the highlights from our first control map. Talk me through, what were you looking for as we loaded up on Nepal?
I mean, the first big question was, of course, how will the guys from Toronto fare without one of their strongest players in Neko? And I honestly have to say, Aid and Rocky both held their own. Stella had a great performance. He was a big question mark coming into this because no one really knew what to expect, as he used to be more of a bench player before coming into OWL, but he's been doing absolutely fantastic.
I mean, that's the thing. What we kind of expected in this match, I think, is kind of happening, right? Where Toronto looks like they have a lot of good individual talent. We knew they could, but they're missing one of their star players. They're still missing Neko, right? Whereas Houston, maybe not the strongest individual play, except Dante is really good and has Point, having a lot of great boops there, set up by Muma in a lot of cases here. But they've got that cohesion, right? They've got that synergy from playing an entire season together, and Dante is slotting into that very well.
You could see the individual talent really shining in the control maps. When we came over to Numbani, though, this is where your team all needs to work together. Toronto and Houston both finishing their first attempts on the attack. And I actually thought Toronto was going to be able to hold, but at the end of this one, Houston was able to power through and take a 2-0 lead. During this game, though, what did you take away from both squads?
Well, my biggest takeaway was Envy on that DPS role, as something we actually haven't really seen before. But on the first map, we saw him playing McCree and Farah, and not just his usual diva role. And Zombra, he did really good in Zombra too. So that was actually really enjoyable.
Well, we saw Envy looking good. Who else looked good for Toronto in your eyes, Joa?
Well, actually, I wanted to talk about Houston here. I mean, I think Dante is already making a big name for himself on the Outlaws. I mean, this is a player they brought in to be that Sombra master, to flex onto the Zarya, and he's doing both beautifully so far.
That Sombra EMP at the end is what won Houston the game. Also, not touching the cart kind of helps your opponent a bit there as well.
Perhaps.
I do want to take a moment, though, and let's take a look back, because we didn't know who was going to be playing the damage-dealing roles for the Toronto Defiant. So we have a clip here for you. This is Stellar and Envy, and as you touched on, Zoe, Envy was looking like Surefour early on in this matchup. You saw every different stage feature, a different hero. You showed us the Farah, the Sombra came out. Which one was your favorite?
I have to say, I think it's Sombra. He did enough work with that. He got a little bit more contested when he was on that Farah, but overall, it was just a really unexpected kind of performance from Envy, which, as I said, usually more of a diva player. He's also listed as a flex tank and not as a DPS for that team.
Yeah, I mean, we know these guys are having to flex a little bit, but I think Envy, you know, this is another thing we kind of talked about where he's one of the veterans coming in. He played in the Overwatch League last year. He's got that composure, and he's shown a little bit of flexibility here.
Nice job by Stellar using an EMP of his own. Final question for you guys. It's not about how Toronto is going to get back in this one, because clearly you're missing Neko. You're working together. You're figuring things out. But we've seen a whole year of the Houston Outlaws. They didn't finish in our playoffs last year. They need to start that road right now. So, Doa, what are you looking forward in the second half? How does Houston Outlaws seal the deal?
Honestly, I think they already have one of the major components in that they seem to be able to play this triple support 2-tank with the Sombra as well, which I think going forward in this 3-3 meta that we're seeing, being able to add that Sombra into the mix, we saw that yesterday in day one. I think we're seeing it again today, that's going to be a real vital thing for your team to be able to do to win matches this stage.
Zoe, which player are you watching from the Outlaws?
In this very particular game or generally?
Next game.
Next game, it's going to be Muma for me, honestly.
Watching the Muma. I love it. Always a safe play. Keep your eyes on the main tank. That's going to do it for us at halftime. Don't go anywhere. We got Houston, Toronto, second half coming up after this.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are currently halfway through our first series of the day. Houston Outlaws leading 2-0 over Toronto Defiant, but it's not over yet. They are at match point. But Toronto Defiant, it's been very close throughout this series so far. They do have a chance to extend this into that Game 5 tiebreaker.
It just feels like Houston, the pre-existing synergy on this roster is really showing through right now, to be honest with you, Achilleos, as we head into Volskaya. Right now, Defiant needs to not panic. We saw a lot of panic moments there on that final, attempted defense there on the cart, not touching the cart there at the last moment.
Very big panic moment right at the end.
Using their ultimates incorrectly, and everything just kind of fell apart there. They've had halftime to sit down and try to calm themselves down and get into this third map, because it is a must-win for them now as they are down 0-2. Fitting, given that many of their members are from 0-2 already.
That's very true. No, and if you think about it, the last final these guys played in, they did lose 0-4. So hopefully that doesn't happen again for them here today. Maybe they can pick up some victories here, starting with Volskaya, and try to get us that tiebreaker on Busan.
Alrighty, would be defense first here for the Outlaws. Defiant looking to run 3-3 once again. On this map, the variation with Yakpung running Winston, because you need that verticality. Reinhardt's not going to be able to get on the high ground, not going to be able to disrupt many of the compositions Houston could potentially be running on the defense.
Oh, pushing forward, he's going to be diving up onto the high ground right off the bat. A bit of damage in, but not going to be finding any kills yet. Poking out as much as humanly possible. Slow and steady on these ult charges so far.
Envy needs to be careful about contesting this high ground right now. He does get away with it.
Yakpung into the back. Lynx are going to find the first kill as 8 gets taken down. Hits him with the base. Now Boink follows up, gets rid of that enemy Winston. It's going to be a very nice start. Stellar trying to drag it back just a little bit, but it's not going to result in much. So time for the reset. Toronto Defiant back in the spawn.
This is a really nice start for the Outlaws. You know, we've been talking about Trance, we've been talking about Graviton Surge. Those are the two most important things, obviously, in this meta. And the defender having twice, the ult charge here, Dante versus Ivy right now, is expected given they won that last team fight, but it means that the next team fight gets even harder.
Jump back over the top, Muma, dropping the bubble, keeps himself and Coolmat safe. Trying to deny away that damage. Yakpung into the back. He's going to be looking for Linkser. Takes him down to about half HP. Stellar finding the first kill of the fight as Dante goes down. He had that Graviton Surge. It's a crucial pickup here for the side of Toronto as they try to get in onto A. Now with Muma falling, things start looking quite good, but Rock is up onto the high ground. Answers one back. Gets rid of that enemy Zenyatta. Drops back down with the Transcendence. Keep the rest of the members of the Outlaws alive. To the best of his ability, rather, as Linkser will get picked off.
Oh man, Defiant cut through the Outlaws like a hot knife through butter here, just splitting them up. Even though they had the pick onto 8 and they had the grav there, it was a good opportunity if they were in formation to use it. They were not, so they're going to hold it for the defense here. If they tried to go for a follow-up defense there, try to recontest, and lost it, they'd have all their ultimates gone. Toronto Defiant holds right now 5 ultimates here, plus that decaying rally armor from Stellar, so practically 6. So this is going to be a very, very tough hold without Transcendence. Raucus using that in that last fight may cost the Houston Outlaws here big time.
Yeah, push up the elevator here. Spamming out. Ivy gonna have to build up that energy so he can deal some real damage. Bubble in. They jump into the back. Still not being fed over much. Be hovering around 30%, so a little timid it would seem on the commitment, but Yakpung, he's gonna go in deep, pops that Primal Rage, jumping into the back, Coolmat gonna be knocked out of that. Mac will go ahead, commits that self-destruct, make his way back in. Yakpung gonna be taken down. Muma with a Primal Rage manages to find Ivy. So many ultimates invested from the side of Toronto Defiant, but they're gonna be coming up short.
It just feels like Toronto Defiant can't stick the landing. They had all the tools they needed to make this a one-team fight. The initiation was solid. Ivy was in position for a potential grab, but it was just Muma comes in with the Primal, knocks him away, knocks him out of formation, and once again, Defiant seemed to panic, lose control of their positioning, and Houston just cuts them apart. Muma's going to swap over now to the Reinhardt, try to match Yakpung, so it's going to be Ryan versus Ryan here.
Yep, reset on those charges.
Yep, so this is going to be a huge opportunity now to show his prowess in the tank matchup to get that shatter first as Ivy loops around. Raucus has the trance this time, though, so that was a missed opportunity.
Bubbles out, but no one really paying attention to Ivy. Doesn't feed him over too much. He makes his way up to 45. Grabs up, throws it down, doesn't really catch anybody. It's just going to be Raucus pinned to the wall. He's got that Transcendence, however, to keep himself alive. Rally now out from Linkser. Stellar's online, going to be popping into match. Envy looking for some pickoffs with that self-destruct, but will be coming up short again. Toronto Defiant committing multiple ultimates, but not really netting anything. But now the turnaround, Houston Outlaws. Dante invests his zone. Coolmat going to be popped out of the mech. Decent turnaround, maybe an opportunity to get in onto the point and start racking this one up. Shatters that from a moment,
Nice
but
block.
right into the shield. Not going to find anything. Yakpung gets the right click up in time. Stellar finds Lynx are now Muma gone. Yakpung in exchange on the Reinhardts, but still looking like Toronto
Full energy
might
here.
be able to grind this one out, but Rockets from the backside gets himself a double kill. He takes down Ivy right as that Graviton Surge becomes available, and Houston Outlaws, it seems like they will be able to hold on.
They're trying to stabilize here, and I think they will do it. Very, very close call. I mean, Yakpung with the shield block there was huge in that fight there, turning things around after Muma Shatter comes up with nil. But it's really good crisis management. That's what Houston Outlaws has been showing us throughout this entire 3 maps we've seen so far, is just when the going gets tough, they do not make mistakes. They hunker down and they win these scrappy team fights. Toronto Defiant, on the other hand, has not been able to do so. They're just not comfortable on this stage, it feels, yet. They're starting things off right, but they're unable to finish them. And that time bank, that massive time bank they had is now halved here. 3:20 on the clock.
Dante, another grab, ready to go. Just going to be waiting for that opportunity. Needs to build up some energy. Oh, finds him right into the front. Grab's going to be coming out immediately as they push forward. Ain't the first one taken down. The double kill from Muma with the pin. Dante himself going to be finding one. That is just going to be the clean sweep.
All too
Knocked out of the
easy.
park.
All too easy when Toronto Defiant comes with a predictable approach angle like that. They're caught in a choke point, and Envy's not in position to eat the grab. It's just simple. You just put the grab where it belongs. Well, watch this once again. Notice it. All the vision here is on the Outlaws. They see everything. They know everyone's in this room. Envy's at the back. It's super easy to just toss it down in the choke. You get the follow-up charge from Muma as everyone's pinned against the wall, and it's a free team fight win. All they needed was the grab.
Fantastically done. Sound Barrier's going to be out from point to keep Outlaws alive. Rock is going to be waiting patiently with that Transcendence to get the Shatter out. They knock Yakpung down, but the Transcendence is there from aid. Keeps everybody topped up. Grab's going to be out. Ivy blocking up several members on the side of Houston Outlaws that are going to try to stay alive, but Envy gets a double kill. Dante and Muma both going to be taken down. Now it's really just on Cool Map, but he's already taken out of the MAC. They push their way forward, and this is when Toronto can finally start ticking up this point B.
You know, as a Toronto fan, if you're sitting at home, you feel good. You saw the combo come out with the self-destruct, but you don't feel great. It's a very weak time bank, and it's getting weaker by the moment with the staggers coming out.
Nice block in from Rock as the wall's going to be coming out, but oh, he didn't get himself into the corner, so will be taken down.
This could be a hold if they keep it up.
Gonna lock him up. Dante manages to find Stellar. Now Lynx are going to be taken out, but Aid's going to be gone. That is going to be one of the supports eliminated. Now there's no tank. Houston Outlaws, can they keep elongating these fights? Coolmat again, basically alone on the point. Boink, he's got that healing, but it's not going to be enough to keep the Diva in the mech. He invests the self-destruct, makes his way back in. They cannot deny it away.
No way.
They're pushing
They're
back
doing
to the
it.
choke. Houston Outlaws will not adhere. They will not stop. They hold him off again.
Incredible defense here from the Outlaws, and again, Toronto Defiant fails to finish things off here. They end with 78.5% here on the cap. They cannot finish the point here. Houston just delays. Great swap over to the May to buy that extra time, and Toronto just could not finish them off. Now as they approach again, they have a massive ult advantage, don't get me wrong, but you have to wonder, can they do it this time either?
It didn't matter for them the first time out when they had 5 ultimates. Let's see if they can do it with a few fewer. Graviton Surge will come out. They lock up Dante. He's going lower and lower, trying to get that kill. Barely holding on by a thread at the moment. The Self-Destruct not going to find anything there for Envy. Sound Barriers up for Toronto Defiant. They know that this has to be the fight. They managed to find Muma. Makes her rally out, trying to keep everybody armored up. Boink nearly Sound Barrier online. Now has it ready to go and throws it down immediately. Coolman finds a pick onto Ivy with the self-destruct. Muma going to be swapping over onto that Wrecking Ball to rejoin in very quickly. Still starting at 2 ticks. The Toronto Defiant have not been able to move that percentage up at all. Shatters that from Yakpung, but he's under duress. He's going to go down. Dante, he gets a double kill. And again from the brink, the Houston Outlaws claw their way back in.
Watching the faces of the players on stage, not a lot of comms at the moment. They know they've lost this. It was a very strong time bank they had, and now they end up with nothing.
Yep, Yakpung trying to get there, but they knock him away. Houston Outlaws hold them off time and time again. 70-some-odd% gain for Toronto Defiant, but cannot get the completion on Volskaya. High pressure situation for them, need an excellent defense. We'll see if they can pull it off when we come back from the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are halfway through Volskaya. Houston Outlaws time and time again pulling off some miraculous holds there. On point B, deny Toronto a completion to get to 78.5%, but that's it.
And this is a meta where you see B completion all the time on Volskaya. Previously in dive metas and at the very beginning of competitive Overwatch, you look back to the Apex days, you look at even some of the early Overwatch League of the inaugural season. You see a lot of holds on B, but not to be so in this meta on Assault. So that makes this feat even more impressive, combined with the fact that Toronto Defiant had such a massive time bank. But we are seeing cracks here in the Defiant in their opening match. Unable to stay composed, unable to continue communication well under pressure here. They're gonna have to bring it back here. It's gonna be a long hold if they're gonna win this map and bring the series forward.
And it is. Muma just going to be throwing down that teleporter to get everybody surged forward. And he's going to be swapping over on to the Wrecking Ball, it would seem. Waiting for the scouting report from Cool Matt. Hanging back. Trying to see what the Sombra can spot out.
I just want to see, is it going to be a potentially Pharah defense, a hit scan defense? They're able to identify as the attackers with the Sombra. It's going to be a rangeless 3-3 composition, and they're going to look for the tank buster here in Linkser. Linkser's played a fair bit of Reaper in the past, so a familiar hero for him, and we'll see if he can break through those tanks with massive damage and lifesteal here in this iteration of Reaper.
Well, they spotted him out. Yakpung going to be waiting around the corner. Gets the stun. No follow-up to be found yet. Muma going to be taking a couple swings. Armor out. Keeps the Winston safe. Houston Outlaws sitting in behind the shield, trying to fish for whatever damage they can get. Links are dangerously low, so have to slowly top him back up with that Zenyatta and Lucio.
The weakness of Reaper is always getting into position to do damage, and as you can see, as soon as Toronto identifies it, they stay far away.
Plenty of people who can shift between that high and low ground. Work their way in onto the center of the point. Start ticking up. Toronto Defiant, not losing anybody, but NB down to half. Need to wait to reaggress. Nice boot back there onto Ivy. Keeps him off the center building. Yakpung into the back.
Primal.
Top of that Primal Rage. He's got the corner here. Onto Rockets trying to take him down. Boop comes in. He's going to abandon the target. Now dropping in, looking for somebody else. Stunned up, under fire. Nearly goes down, even with Primal Rage activated. No one's going to be dead yet. Rockets, in the meantime, he's built up that Transcendence. Might have to use it very soon. Links are going to be taken out. Both support ultimates available for Houston as they try to take the fight. Grabs on Surge Online. Ivy, 100 energy, ready to go. It gets melted down, and Roki will be able to scoop up that kill. So Toronto, they can hold on to these ultimates.
Yeah, Linkser dying means the comp dies with him in this. They will have to respawn and set up for another push. Toronto Defiant did everything they needed to avoid him at first. Houston gets on the point and says, well, now you have to come to me because I'm contesting the point. You actually have to bring the fight to the Reaper, but Defiant identifies where Linkser is, kills him before he could become more of a threat. Turns out his damage output versus tanks, and now Houston Outlaws have to reset. They've got a lot of ultimates here for this push, but Defiant has matching ultimates and positional advantage, meaning Linkser can't do much right now on the low ground.
Yeah. Not much damage that he can offer up. Cool Matt into the front, going lower and lower. The Graviton Surge is going to be locking him up right here onto the corner. Bomb into the back, looking for the kills. Several members already going to be gone, but Raucus will get caught up in the explosion as Houston Outlaws get swept under the rug.
And it feels, odd that the Houston Outlaws would use the prepared strategy here, even though they had such an advantage, knowing that no B take there for Toronto Defiant means maybe just running 3-3 into this until it works might have just gotten them a win. They still went with the strategy they prepared instead of going for the safer bet. And this means now, suddenly, what looked like a lost game for Toronto Defiant could be turned around here because they're dealing with this Reaper so effectively at the moment.
That could very well come down to Escort. We'll see. Death Blossom still waiting to be online, 14% away. Houston Outlaws. Plenty of ultimates to use, but Toronto has some to match.
Linkser just needs to get into position somehow. The Death Blossom isn't really the key here, it's just the damage output. Nice eat.
Surge gonna be going out, but Envy takes it away, but Linkser does manage to find Roki. Getting rid of him with that sound barrier. Shattered down, Muma not able to find any kills yet here for his squad. Linkser in the Wraith form, backs his way out to try to stay alive. Sound barrier now in, they will reaggress, pushing forward. Yakpung is there, Primal Rage is out. Death Blossom in, but not going to be able to find any targets. Defense Matrix out from Envy, denies away a lot of that damage, and they can retreat safely into the garage. Second tick now going to be gained for Houston Outlaws. As that grab comes in, locking them up. Coolback going lower and lower. Self-destruct thrown down, looking for the target, and Muma going to be killed in transit. Mid-charge taken down. Now Linkser is well cleaned up. Manages to find the enemy Winston, but this might just be it. The Stragglers getting picked off, 5 seconds remaining, only 2 ticks gained. Houston Outlaws coming up short on Volskaya despite the fantastic defense of B.
And you have to wonder, Was the Reaper really necessary here when they could have just run 3-3 and eventually broken through? Using their prepared strategy here, I think backfires quite significantly here for the Houston Outlaws.
Very nicely done, but let's see if they can keep this boat going. 1-2, the score.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, we might have a real series on our hands. Toronto Defiant able to pick up that win on Volskaya despite the best efforts from the Houston Outlaws. They could not even get a cap on A. And now this is that awkward moment where maybe Toronto has that momentum, can shift it into a, game 5, try to get that reverse sweep.
Certainly could happen here on Route 66, but I'm excited about Route 66 specifically because this is the map where we see the most out there strategies. This is where you could see the quad DPS, Sombra super viable. You could see snipers come through here, Widowmaker, absolutely a possibility, Ashe, etc., right? So this is where the Outlaws should shine, right? Because they have shown so much diversity of strategy already in our first 3 maps, which again, I feel really backfired for them on Volskaya there with the Reaper, but this is where they should excel in theory.
Yeah, I mean, as well, not going to be having any substitutions coming through from either side. Linkser still on stage. We know that he is very adept at that Widowmaker, and I assume that that will also translate over to Ashe as well. So with that quad DPS kind of in the back of our minds, now I guess pushed to the forefront because we really would love to see it, will we get to see Linkser bringing out those crucial hit scan picks?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think it's very likely, just given that the Outlaws have always kind of been at the forefront of the meta, always trying to push new ideas forward, as you saw even with the Mei earlier on Nepal specifically. So I expect that there's, especially on attack, where we've seen it especially in Korea, like in Korea Contenders, very successful on attack on A, where you have that really wide open area around the containers as you approach big Earls. That's where that's going to be at its strongest, and I would be surprised if we didn't see it at least attempted on that first attack.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot about the diversity of the meta right now, what picks we're going to be seeing. We're talking about Korean meta, Owl meta, but what does meta really mean? Let's go ahead and take a look and find out. It's just about
So the meta is a type of style that's been developed in the game based off of balance patches, where you'll have 2 or 3 comps and then you'll swap to each one to counter the other comps.
There's several ways to describe it, I guess. It's in a way, it's like the flavor of the month in a way. All the pros think this is the best. This is what the norm is, the standard, right? As a gamer, these kind of gamer terms kind of slip out. So whenever something's in fad, I will accidentally say, oh yeah, these shoes are in meta right now.
Well, there you have it. If you didn't know what the meta was, now you do. Now you're informed.
Yeah, so I want to talk about Ivy for a little bit. He's one of the players that's one of the standouts, obviously the Zarya player here for this squad. And if you take a look at his stats here, you know, in a very competitive map like this one, average energy looks a little bit low, not as impressive as what we've seen, you know, sometimes for him in Korea. But he's a player who was really at the forefront of the run that O2 Ardent made through the Contenders playoffs in Season 1 as a Genji and Junkrat player. Super niche, mostly Stellar, who took the field right on the Sombra.
Yeah.
And now he's swapping over to a completely different role here on this Zarya and already looks pretty comfortable in terms of his mechanics here. I think the one piece that's missing is decision making, and I think that's going to come with time here. He's playing on a new stage of Giant Arena here with fans right in front of him. He's in a new country, and it's going to take some time to adjust, but already we're seeing that potential.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive difference from playing in a grand final in Contenders and coming over here to the Overwatch League stage. But guys, we are ready to go on Route 66. This could very well be our final map of this series if Houston can close it out. Otherwise, Toronto really vying for that map 5 tiebreak. Let's see if they can earn it as they kick things off on attack.
Here we go. So it's going to be attack first for Defiant. We'll have to wait to see if Houston wants to do something unique there on their attack. Already it's a little bit different though with Linkser on the high ground. He pulls out the hit scan here right from the get-go with the Orisa, so very difficult to break this position with what the Defiant are running here because they don't have any way to really get up there without speed boosting and taking the long way. They're just simply going to avoid his damage here by hiding underneath.
Yep.
And that means he can't hit them.
Right in next to the gas pumps, but it is being contested at the moment, so Cart not really advancing. Muma is trying to inch forward, get into that range. Hulk coming out. Grabs two of the tankiest members of the side of Defiance, are not going to be able to pop anybody there.
It's a bit of a standoff, but that standoff is advantage to the defender as that time bank goes down. Roki's looking for the knockoff here, but dies for it.
Oh yeah, taken down, Linkser. Susses that one out, takes him down. Deadeye over halfway, ready to go. Gets a couple of extra shots in flashbang, not going to be able to find anything, but still offering up a bit of damage, getting closer to that ult.
At least the Lucio can speed boost back. They can still hold this position. The Houston Outlaws not actually reacting to this, not trying to take the 6v5 in his absence. Just want to hold the top
Another
of the
ult
girls.
there. They just drag him right out, and Roki gets picked as soon as he returns. Fantastically done from the Houston Outlaws.
And Defiant's going to look for this fight now, but they're down a member against the high ground. This is a disaster. This is not working out as they planned.
Yeah, Bubble comes out, but Yakpung can't make his way up onto the high ground, so not going to be building up any energy, not really going to be getting any charge. And Houston Outlaws just start running away with the fight, and fantastic defense again from these guys to kick things off.
And this is what I mean by breaking under the pressure. Defiant loses their Lucio player twice in a row. The second time they panic, try to take the high ground against the high ground advantage with no speed boost, mind you, because Roki was dead and coming back from spawn. That fight was destined to fail. Backing away is a rough call as well, too, because Linkser's going to be taking free pot shots. It's looking rough here already. Those Houston Outlaws, the massive ult advantage. They get into the safe spot again. This is the approach they want when they've got the speed boost, but Houston Outlaws is already ready. Look at Boink's positioning here to stop them.
Decent little split up coming through. Linkser on the flank. Deadeye now going to be thrown out, looking for a target. Oh, barely gets Roki. He just got his number today. Takes him down again and again. Ada will be following shortly thereafter. Dante hounding him out. And our Houston Outlaws maintain control. Nice little charge forward. But, stop your heartbeat. You see that coming at you, but he gets out of the way in time and picks up the kill.
You know, he comes out here on this McCree. It makes a ton of sense, given that they're going to go for this Big Earl's control position. Defiant's not making the wrong move by any means in terms of hiding next to the gas pumps and making that rotation up. But Houston has prepared this so many times. We're going to take a look at Raucus's pick here again. As you can see, gets that line of sight, takes out NB, IB. He's the secondary ranged DPS here next to Linkser.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's been a rough map for Roki, unfortunately, in his first night back to competitive play here. See if he can stabilize, but the time bank is low.
Sound barrier nearly online for Boink. Supercharger going to be thrown down. Graviton Surge does come out, but the Transcendence is there to keep them safe. Try to get the boop out. That's going to be Muma taken down as he gets knocked over onto the low ground. The Struck does come up with something, but is that going to be enough for Toronto Defiant to start advancing this cart? Deadeye not going to find anything. The barriers come up. Flashbang. Not going to find anything. Does get taken down, and it seems like Toronto Defiant grinding away. And Houston Outlaws has finally found a way to start advancing the cart, but there's still so very far to go left of this map. Even if they get across the finish line in A, they're so far away.
It's a really rough time bank here for sure. We did see in that last moment there that they basically were able to collapse in, win. They took a risk. Linkser tried to go for the Deadeye. He wanted to be greedy there, wanted the big kills, but that actually cost them big. Here's one more contest with a rally.
Self-destruct to try to open things up. Not going to be able to find a pick off with that one. Dante playing forward. Looking for those stuns. Nearly eliminated. Fire Strike out. Now sound barrier thrown down here. Yakpung so much HP. Gets a swing in onto Muma. Eliminates him. 2 meters left to go. The Shatter's still going to be online. Sun comes in. Yakpung goes low. Trying to keep topped up. Dante going to be isolated, eliminated. And it seems like Toronto Defiant will be able to keep pushing forward here on Route 66 to getting a fighting chance.
Oh, Lynx are going to get staggered here a little bit. That's really unfortunate. But beyond that, the big picture story here for the Defiant is they hold 4 ultimates at the moment as soon as Envy gets that last meager 4%. But this is going to make it tough for the Outlaws to reapproach this, control the high ground like they were doing so early on. At least Lynxer with the late swap onto the Zarya is still nearly matching Ivy in terms of ult charge. That's the one silver lining here for Houston Outlaws. They just need to slow this down and look for a real big contest on B.
Looking for that opportunity. All playing up here onto the high ground. Surge going to be catching him out. The pin coming through. Muma pinned into the wall, taken low, but not going to be eliminated yet. Still alive. Shatter still held.
So
Houston
patient.
Outlaws will be zoned back.
So patient is Yakpung there. Slight opportunity for a Shatter, but he just wants the bigger one. He wants the guaranteed hit. Everyone's so low on the Houston Outlaws here. It's tough to contest.
Knows that if he can get rid of Muma, he can go ahead and line up that Shatter pretty much no problem. Transcendence going to be up from Raucus. Trying to buy some time for Boink to get that sound barrier online. He's just a couple % away, and now we'll have it. Shatter matched on either side. Yakpung pushing forward as the Transcendence comes out. Knows that he'll get top back up. Rejoins in with the rest of the squad. Right click there from Roki. Takes Cool Matt out of the mech. Grab comes in, locking them up, but they cannot find the kills. Muma with a sliver of HP, trying to stay alive, but will get hounded down. The hammer swing out from Yakpung. Claims his life. And it seems like Toronto Defiant should be able to earn their way over to point B and keep this Route 66 map going.
Yeah, unfortunately, Houston Outlaws contest here happens just outside of B, so there's not enough time to actually come back here and prevent this cap. You can see, if you look at the silhouettes through the wall there, that they're not actually approaching this. They're going to let it go through. So unfortunate timing to get wiped there because they had a huge opportunity to make that last. Suddenly, Toronto Defiant got to feel really good about what was initially a rough start here on Route 66.
2 minutes remaining. Couple ultimates ready to go. Transcendence nearly there for aid. Yakpung so patient with these shadows so far, pushing forward. Maybe looking for the opportunity here. He's going to get stunned up, but will be topped back up. He's going to be safe. Sound barrier out from Roki. Aid waiting with the Transcendence. They can chain these together if need be. Houston Outlaws don't really have much to work with outside of that self-destruct. Yep. So they just have to keep pulling back time and time again.
No support ultimates means this is the scariest time for Houston Outlaws. Rally's coming up here for Stellar, so they're looking to engage.
Throws that one out, Lynx her up into the front, gonna get picked off. Now it's gonna be Muma falling. Cannot get that Shatter online. The cart gonna keep rolling forward. Well, if somebody's actually gonna go back, they're pushing very far forward to get these kills. Now they can rejoin, start advancing closer and closer to C.
This is absolutely ideal for the Defiant because they get to save their ultimates for the contest of C itself. No support ultimates still for the Outlaws. It's going to be a razor-thin window for them to build those. They have to delay first. Muma leading the charge to try to set that up.
They're pulling off some miracles on Volskaya. Can they do it again? Grab's going to be coming out. The truck thrown down, straight in on top of him. Not going to find a pick off there for the side of Toronto fight, but they still managed to get 3 kills now with Dante eliminated. Muma dead, no chance of using that Shatter. Transcendence is out. Raucus having to retreat, and Ivy is just scooping up kill after kill. Now looking for the break here on a cool Matt's mech. Will be able to get it with Boink, the only member left alive here on the card. Throws down with that sound barrier. The shield's going to expire, and Muma's Shatter is not going to find anything, nor will the pin. The rest of the team, they're just buying some time. Dante does manage to find Ivy. Cool Matt desperately swapping over onto the Reaper to try to tank bust these guys. Muma gets taken. They might actually be able to do this. Grab comes out. They lock him up. Yakpung going to be eliminated. Roki goes down. Houston Outlaws. They pull out.
They did it again.
Miracle.
They did it again, and this is on the back of Boink's sound barrier. It looks silly to see a solo Lucio sound barrier, but he's so survivable in that moment. The respawns come through, and now
it's 5
Toronto,
seconds.
They can't touch this point. There's no way. They won't get on it.
Can he bait onto it? Looks like the answer is going to be no. Just in front of the finish line, they get held back.
And this has got to be
Houston Outlaws.
This has got to be so frustrating for the Defiant that have again just been so close, but not quite able to get these finished points. The point on B we saw earlier, now leading into C on Route 66. So we're going to take a look at Dante here, who's at 80 energy at the moment. I think some kills to kind of help hold this off. But this is all on the back of after the hold comes through from Boink. He just comes in and cleans up. He's got 80 energy, does the most damage here in this fight. So far, the Dante trade going over to Houston Outlaws paying in dividends here.
Yes, absolutely has been essential for this roster.
Now as we head into the Houston Outlaws attack, though, this was the exciting part we were talking about, potentially seeing quad DPS, maybe a unique composition here that they've prepared. We've seen so much from them already, unique strategies on 3 maps back-to-back. So as we head into their attack, it could be anything except this. I don't think we're going to see Muma Genji. Anything except this, right?
Go back to the Symmetra. He's been teasing that one a lot. No, likely not to happen. Toronto Defiant, however,
okay, well,
just set up with the Bastion.
They are certainly changing things up. We're going to see, similar to what we saw from the Seoul Dynasty yesterday, the support flex, the Zenyatta player in this case, just like we saw Jaehong yesterday, going into the Bastion.
Yep.
So it is a solo support composition. Bastion's somewhat self-sustainable. You have the setup with the Orisa, and there's always that threat of the backline Tracer. Ivy can get in there, do that extra damage. Surprising to see him on it and not Stellar. We'll see how this plays out.
Thinks they're swapping over onto the Hanzo, just throwing out that arrow, trying to see where they're set up, but now they're very aware of it. And instantly, it's going to be that pharmacy swap coming in. Dante moving over to that.
Well, we're going to see Outlaws play something different here, probably because Defiant set this up, but at least we get what we wanted, right?
Yeah, in on the flank. Ivy just going to be looking to offer up some damage with that Tracer. Full Matt occupying the high ground. Oh, Linkser sticking through. Manages to find that first kill. Aid taking a lot of shots from above.
Trying to use this sign for cover, but it's not going to be enough against an air Pharah here.
He's just right out in the middle of the street. Raucus scoops up the kill. Now Yakpum taken down by the pin from Muma. They do manage to find the enemy's Zenyatta, but support's going to be fallen. No chance of a res with Roki eliminated, and that's going to be Toronto Defiant sounding the retreat.
Everyone from the fans, the solo queue players, to the players of this league are looking for the answer to 3-3. But I don't think this is it. Houston Outlaws easily able to identify the comp, swap over to the Pharah, and totally dismantle it. Even though the sign offered some protection there for Aid, at the end of the day, he had to step forward, he had to maximize his damage, but he got caught and picked off.
Yeah, it costs them dearly. Reset on a lot of ultimates there from the side of Toronto. Barrage nearly online for Dante. See what he can get done with that. Linkser as well. A little bit further behind. Now actually gets a tag in. That's going to be the Dragon Strike available. Throws that one out. Looking for a target. Everyone going to be splitting, but they're separated on the side of Toronto Defiant. That's going to be Roki going down. Linkser following up off the back of the ultimate for the kill. Raucus gets Yakpum. Knockout onto the mech. Nice shot there from Dante. Scoops up a lot of damage, layering that right into the members of Toronto Defiant. That will be the wipe. That'll be the finish on the A.
And he just gets to hold the barrage here. To be honest, a lot of teams would swap here off of the pharmacy even with the barrage, but I don't know if that's what the Houston is planning here. They have so many advantages right now. Toronto's still running a comp that in a lot of ways Houston counters with this Pharah. There's no way to deal with this air threat here, the Pharah in the sky. So they're willing to hold on to this for a little bit longer, utilize the barrage, and then make that swap back over to the 3-3. They've got a much better time bank than Toronto had in a similar situation, so they're very willing to just use this combo here with the Mercy.
Yep, have to walk out with that shield raise. So much spam coming through. Whether it's the arrows or the rockets, need to deny that damage away.
It's only one chance to use this barrage well.
Oh, Shadow gonna come down, catches a lot of members down the barrage. Layered in, that's gonna be 2 kills over Dante before he gets taken down by Envy, but the fight very much going the way of Houston. Clean up there, the wipe comes through, and the cart will keep on rolling.
I mean, I guess Envy's gonna ruin that for the highlight reel. It's not gonna make a nice, it's not gonna make a nice clip, you know, when we go back into editing later, we're looking at highlights for this player, but you know, he still did his job. He's gonna swap off now, of course.
Maybe we'll just show it anyway. Okay, no,
we're gonna watch Muma, because Muma's really the MVP of this one. He sets it up.
Oh,
hidden. They did not see him. They did not scan to see where he was.
That's why you look both ways before you cross the streets, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Get caught off guard. Now it's going to be the Dragon Strike rolling in, gets a little bit of damage. Cool Matt throwing the bomb into the back, not going to find anything. Members of Defiant dipping in and out of the buildings, keep themselves safe. Now it's going to be the grab, and Raucus diving on top of that with the Transcendence to help keep them alive, but Linkser will get picked off in the back by that self-destruct from Envy. Muma under fire, will be eliminated. Cool Matt trying to make it out of there with a mech intact, but will not be able to do so. 3:10 on the clock for Houston Outlaws. They have time. They're very close to B, but Toronto Defiant, they really need to dig in on this defense.
They certainly do. Boink's gonna swap obviously back over to the Lucio as the composition has completely transformed back to what you'd expect, the 3-3 here for the Streets phase. In terms of the Zarya charge here, Dante actually leads over Ivy. So the Houston Outlaws not in a terrible position by any means. It's just about how they can make this fight where they're still down on ultimates, don't have their support ults. Boink just swapped over Lucio. This fight, if they can take it efficiently, they're starting to get their way back into it.
Shatter online, Yakpung going to be looking for that opportunity. Holding so far. Drop back down, stun's coming out. They isolate Linkser, will be able to find the kill. Almost gets knocked off the side. They do manage to get Stellar, but
speaking of knocked off the side,
yeah. Says goodbye. Cool Matt gonna be joining them.
Now's the time to start panicking, though, as a Houston fan, because
definitely getting closer.
It's certainly that last fight wasn't horrible for them, but the Defiant hold on to this armor for a little bit longer here. It's gonna decay, obviously, on the live patch, but they have the trance, they have the barrier. So this next attack, even though Dante will build a grab through his right clicks on this approach here, it's not going to be enough. Look at where Roki's standing as well. He gets all the vision, sees the exact approach angle. And look at this. You're taking so much damage even on your way in. You just don't have any initiation.
Gonna be sticking to Ivy Lake Glue as best as possible. That's why he's pushing up onto that high ground, trying to see when he wants to use the grab. They make their way in behind the cart to try to start pushing it forward. Toronto Defiant keeping this one contested. Links are going to be taken out. Yakpung finding the kill, and now that's going to be the go button here for Toronto, but the shatter comes out from Muma, but Poink now going to be eliminated. Stellar able to find that kill. Transcendence out. Aid keeping everybody else topped up. Muma going off the side, does manage to find Yakpung, but I think that
it's a winning trade.
Outlaws in this moment don't have any more miracles to pull out.
It's a winning trade for the Defiant, no doubt. I mean, that's one way to reset your spawn. At least it goes out in a flashy manner, but when you look at the ultimates here, when you look at the UI at the top of your screen, you're not happy if you're a Houston fan. They do have both support ultimates, and if used correctly, they can counter the defensive ultimates of Defiant, but it's not going to be easy. They're going to approach from the high ground. Smart move here. Relinquishing it now. They're moving away from Ivy.
Yeah, under fire, high energy here for him. Getting a shot up a bit there by Raucus.
Just trying to threaten him so he can't get into grab range. Really smart play here by the Outlaws.
Dante dropping back down.
Ivy will do the same.
All these ults. Getting closer and closer to 6 on either side. Card hasn't moved in a while. It's going to be the grab coming down. Both going to be tossed out. Looking for a target. Bombs in. Doesn't find anything but Envy. Does manage to find Cool Matt before he can make it back into the back. Now Links are going to be picked off by Aid. Can they actually make this one happen? Sound barrier out from Poink as they try to stay in the fight. Shatter comes down. Muma looking for a kill, but he himself will just be eliminated. Aid starts racking up these kills, doing his best Jonic impersonation, and still holds on to the Transcendence through all of it. 4 seconds remaining. Houston Outlaws not going to be able to make it to B, not going to be able to get this win here on Route 66.
Go into that 5th and final map now. Toronto Defiant stabilize here on Route 66 against the face of adversity. No completion on C, but in that phase towards B, they held strong.
My. A game 5, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are down to the wire here, and it's just the first series of the day. Map 5 getting ready to come out. Houston Outlaws, they went up 2-0. Toronto Defiant, however, might be able to pull off the very rare reverse sweep.
Feels like the Houston Outlaws had so many advantages throughout all of those maps, all 4 of them, but they took unnecessary risks oftentimes that led to their demise, whereas the Defiant needs to stabilize in terms of emotions on the stage here. They need to get their team fights together better, because the start of these fights looks brilliant. The execution, the initiation, it's all working out, but then it's sticking the landing, getting those final kills that seems lacking. Both of these teams, you know, having some hiccups. That's what leads us to a Game 5, and that's why this final map is going to be so exciting.
I mean, it seems like maybe they're getting over those nerves that they experienced in the first half of this set. You know, it was very close, but you could tell there's those moments where they were kind of choking a little bit right at the end, not able to tag the cart there on Nambani in the overtime rounds, giving that win over. But it seems like they are stabilizing. They're finding some ground to stand on, and they might actually be able to pull off this reverse sweep.
Certainly possible. It was a very close map of control on the Paul, as you remember. And as we go back to control here, it's going to be potentially just as close. We'll see Jake return here. Back to the stage. He played control earlier. He'll be subbing in for Cool Matt this time.
Yeah, we'll be coming in. Lynx are going to be staying on the roster. So we'll see what Jake can bring to us for this fifth and final map of this series.
So remember, now they're going into this control map with a diva-less setup. And we've seen most of the time right now, the two types of comps you see are Doomfist with this, and it is Busan as the final map. The other type is the Sombra composition we've been seeing. So excited to see if Jake will be playing any of that Sombra coming into this. It's a very unique setup right now that the Outlaws are running with.
But will be Busan to close things out and determine the winner here, the first series of the day. You and I just very recently in Busan for the Season 3 finals of Contenders. Right. So good to go back here now in game.
It's always lovely to visit Busan. You and I got to do the map reveal for that as well.
We did.
In Korea when that came out.
We did.
Very, very excited about that back then. And now we get to cast it in Overwatch League. So we're just really lucky guys. I mean,
it's almost a home field advantage here you would feel for Toronto Defiant, despite, you know, Toronto with the name, Busan. So all these guys have been down there, very familiar with it. I'm sure it's going to be very practiced on this map. So this could be, again, a very close set.
So when we looked at what Jake played on Nepal earlier, it was the Pharah and the Mei that really stood out. The Pharah to deal with what we're seeing from Stellar's Sombra, you know, a more fanned out composition on the more open part there of Nepal. And then when we were on Village, he was playing the Mei, setting up the walls, making sure that it's very difficult to approach there from the side of the Defiant. With the Pharah, you've got basically 3 walls around that square where the point was. So I really feel like we're going to see something potentially even more unique from him as we head into this final match.
Well, here's two players who've been sticking through throughout the entire series. Roki and Boink is taking a look. I mean, a lot of damage done coming through for these guys playing the Lucio.
I mean, it's almost dead even across the board, with one exception. It's the final blows for Boink, and that comes from, as his name might suggest, boinking members off the side of the map, especially when you go back and look at Nepal and Sanctum, where he was able to rack up a lot of extra kills there. So a bigger threat overall, and you know, this is, if I'm not mistaken, Roki's first return to professional play since he was on X6 in Apex. It's been a long time.
It's been a while. He did play on 7 in Contenders Trials for Season 3, but outside of that, he has not been in pro play. So it has been a fairly good return to play for him. Trying to get back into that form.
Yeah, his first time playing offline in a very, very long time. It's kind of been the sub, and then, as you mentioned, the Trials player there. Leading up to this, a lot of pressure on him, getting picked twice in Route 66 early on that attack, but maintaining composure. And, you know, obviously having very similar numbers across the board to Boink, the veteran.
Neck and neck between those two. Let's see who can edge out a little bit further than the other to get that win here. As we come in for the tie break. Pressure certainly on for both of these squads. Both going to be vying for that match 1 victory.
Already taking a look at the roster here will be Jake on the Sombra, as expected. No Diva. Linkser in this map, where you have a huge open space, and absolutely utilize the Widowmaker. We're going to see a similar comp from the Defiant, with Ivy on the Tracer rather than the Widow. Not known for hit scan on his old squad. That was Climax who held that role.
Yep. Stellar just going to be sticking through with that Brigida. Trying to lock down Dante, and Jake especially when he comes in for those EMPs. Linkser, however, going to find the first kill, and B going to be taken down now. Roki! We saw this from him at the World Cup in Incheon. This man is out of control. Gets another shot there on the aid. Under a little bit of fire. But no! He gets him mid-sleep dart. He didn't even hit the ground yet.
Nope, not even going to let him touch it. Let's take a look at this opening shots here we saw from Linkser. He goes under pressure, pulls back, then is able to turn around, identifies Ivy right in the head there. Going to get the shot on Roki there, flyby.
This man's tracking is just beautiful.
Certainly is, Achilleos.
Fantastically done. There's some fire though. Oh, and he's just gonna be receiving a pile driver. It's taken down, so the kill streak at an end, but Dante goes forward, gets a pulse bomb right into the back of Stellar, takes him out. Dropping back down, Yakpung dangerously low there with that wrecking ball. Will be burned out. Jake finds that kill. Houston Outlaws looking to maintain control. They lose out on the point. It's gonna be the Nano in on the Dante. The famed tracer that we've been looking for. Pile driver coming in from Muma. Does find Ivy. He's gonna be pushing forward, looking for a target. Will not find it. Age is gonna be resetting as he jumps onto the tracks.
This is gonna be really nice for the Outlaws. There's EMPs on both sides, but the answer to Linkzer's Widow here is just doesn't exist on the Defiant. It's Yakpung who's putting the pressure on. You want to, in most cases, match the Widow with your own Widow in these scenarios, but Defiant doesn't have a hit scam player that can stand up to Linkzer here. It's just, they just simply don't.
Yep, Infrasight gonna be out. Jake in the back. Ooh. Nearly spotted.
It's gonna be a
Not
big
gonna
one.
be scouting for him. Pile driver coming through. Looking for that hack there on a Stellar. Cannot quite finish it off. Aid going low. Will be finished off. Raucus able to snipe him out. 2 members gone from the side of Toronto Defiant. Now 3. Another reset gonna be coming down as Roki just jumps right into the minefield.
And what this comp does for the Defiant is basically there's 2 edges to this. There's in the back line, Jake is threatening the members of the Defiant, so they're always having to deal with him. Then there's Linkzer on the other side, looking to pick up those kills in the crossfire. And they don't have to use really any ultimates to win this fight. The EMP still held by Jake. The Defiant, it's going to be really rough. They're desperately putting Stellar on the Widow, but he's not a hit scam player.
Yep, they're trying to hound down Linkzer.
He's dead.
That's going to be Stellar taken out. Jake, EMP ready to go. Goes ahead, dumps that one out. Looking for a target. Got one right in his face. Roki gonna fall. They do manage to find Linkzer with a minefield, but that's about as good as it gets for Toronto. OT gonna be ticking away. Houston Outlaws, they take the first round 100-0.
Just continues to be the Outlaws identifying what the weaknesses of the Defiant comp and utilizing it here. Bringing in Jake to have this diva-less Sombra comp, knowing there's no hit scan player on the enemy side. And by hit scan, I mean long-range hit scan, like something like a Widowmaker, right? When you don't have an answer to Linkzer's Widow, he's just simply going to control line of sight. As long as he doesn't miss his shots, as you can see here, he doesn't. It's gonna be a hard time for Defiant to deal with this. They have to deal with him with dive. They have to deal with him with the wrecking ball here, but it's just unreliable.
It's beautiful play from him. So downtown out of the way, Houston picking up that first round. Now 1 more to go. If they can close that on Sanctuary, they will be able to take this series.
And Dante finally gets to show his Tracer too. That's been the big question mark after this trade. Will it become relevant? In this match, it certainly has been. And we're gonna see the same comp here again for the Outlaws. A little bit less open space here for Linkzer too. Get those headshots here as he tries to look for an ideal line of sight. Not gonna be quite as easy as we just saw on the city center.
Jake just gonna be sprinting around looking for somebody to hack. So far not finding much. Point gonna be unlocked. Trying to find, oh, Ivy, he's not fast enough. Linkzer finds him again. Gets the tag there on Aid, nearly takes him out. Can't quite get the shot here on the Stellar. A little bit too up close and personal here for him, it would seem, but Yakpung overextends, has no support. Will get taken down despite that. Toronto Defiant do manage to first cap.
This is not a map where you can, realistically switch over to dive and try to threaten what Linkzer is doing. It's just not realistic.
Aid tagged up again. Flip not coming through yet for Houston Outlaws despite those kills at the end of the fight. Jake does manage to find Stellar. Getting closer and closer to that EMP. Muma going up over the top looking for a pile driver.
It's a big one.
In. Oh yeah, finds 3. He going lower, but Linkzer actually has been eliminated by Yakpung, but Jake makes him pay for that by taking him out. EMP dropped in. Jake under some fire, jumps back to the translocator, and Raucus gonna be sniping out Ivy this time. Pick your poison. Which sniper do you want to kill you? Seems like Ivy doesn't have much of a choice.
No, definitely not. And for the Defiant, they find themselves again a little bit out of, they just don't have any tools to deal with Linkzer's Widow. They're out of options here. They have an EMP, but what's the follow-up? Ivy's Tracer is the best they've got, but they're just falling in this matchup.
Already, Aid gonna be taken down. Houston Outlaws keeping things rolling. Pushing forward from Dante, has that pulse bomb, no need to use it. He knows that the reset call is gonna be coming through.
This map feels like it's over. The Houston Outlaws have strategically defeated Defiant here, and there is just no recourse we'll have to see a swap onto the Widow once again. You have to imagine for Defiant to try to match this guy, but it's a losing matchup either way. It feels lose-lose. Aid swaps over to Moira here, gonna give them a little bit more mobility, but that's about it.
Sir knows that he's about to be jumped on, gets hacked out, looks for the shot, can't quite get it. Stellar is unable to finish off anybody.
That's the solo.
Hacked out, dead. Now looking for the shot again. Lynx are trying to find that Sombra. Nano boost thrown in onto Dante yet again. Pushes forward, manages to find the kill there on the 8. Now going to be duking it out with Ivy. Not much of a 1v1. Seems like Ivy going to be just going back into the spawn.
And when you see these solo EMPs onto a Widowmaker player, you know Toronto Defiant is getting desperate here. Lynxer was the trump card Houston Outlaws has been holding this entire time here. And this map suits it well. Defiant is in serious trouble here. They've got one more shot to flip this.
Ivy holding onto the pulse, already going to be knocked down dangerously low. Has to use the recall. Roki's going to get picked off. Muma coming up with another pile driver kill. So many here in this series, in this map. 8 HP remaining there for Ivy. Does manage to make his way out. In control. 10% left to go for the Houston Outlaws to close out this set. Raucus taken down. Boink still going to be alive. Muma hacked out, however. Can't get that adaptive shield, will be eliminated, but Jake tries to draw it back a little bit, gets rid of one. Lynxer spraying away with a machine gun, gets Roki, but gets hounded down by Envy. Ran over and flattened. 99% Houston Outlaws, down a few members. The flip starting to come through. Toronto, can they close it out? I think with Point going down, seems like it should be the case.
In terms of Tracer stats, by the way, right now, Ivy 3 and 7 to Dante's 22 and 2. They get the flip, but that's step 1. They have 6 ultimates to hold it. This next fight should be theirs, but after that, that's when it starts to get scary as the ults fade away.
EMP from Stellar, very far forward, has to jump back instantly though. Now the sound barrier gonna be out. Houston Outlaws looking for the fight right now. Jake gonna be back capping, gets it close. Almost gets that flip coming through. Primal range, gets a couple smacks in, but they cannot finish him off. He'll jump back with the translocator, stays alive with Dante. Gonna be picked off right before he can get that pulse bomb online. Minefield dropped in straight onto the point. Pretty unavoidable here for the members of Toronto Defiant, but Muma just gonna get hounded down. That melee smack there from Yakpum comes up with a kill, and Houston, they will have to falter here on this attack.
A bit trigger happy, I feel, on these ultimates, especially the minefield coming out from Muma there. The sound barrier to try to initiate wasn't enough after the EMP came out there from Stellar. And now Toronto Defiant still holds that ult advantage, but even more so, it's going to have to be a big EMP from Jake. You have to think to take this back.
Stellar into the back, gets a hack there on a Raucus, trying to finish him up. Jake and Lynx are both going to be taken out. Good start, 91%. Toronto Defiant getting closer and closer. They're pushing this further. Pulse bomb out. Raucus goes down. This is when you start seeing the desperation. Muma hacked, eliminated. Tracer in onto the point. Dante just to get that OT rolling through, but he cannot stay alive. The same would be said for Boink. The Wolf, it seems like yet again, we're going to go the distance.
It looks like it.
Final round of Busan to determine it all. Mecha base.
You can see the relief in the Toronto Defiant's faces. That was nearly over right from the beginning. When Lynxer came out on the Widow, they did not have the answer, but a few really efficient team fights brings it back. On Mecha base, you have to imagine the Widow is going to be difficult to utilize as we're moving into close quarters. There's a lot of structural interference as to where you're trying to get line of sight. As Lynxer here on the Widow, 3-3, very powerful with all the choke points. If you're running the 3-3 and you get control of that first point, then you're going to have the choke points held, you're going to have those AoE ultimates. Doesn't look like either team is interested in running that, though. It's just going to be back to more of the same. See if Lynxer can hit the shots here. This is probably going to be his biggest challenge yet of these 3 rounds. This will be the hardest one to maintain line of sight.
He's got a lot of space to work with, plenty of places to grapple to if he gets under fire. So we'll see how he fares this time around. He's just pushing forward. Lynxer looking for a line of sight.
You can see he struggles to find one here, but as soon as they poke out, it's free shots.
Yeah, shot coming in, gets a tag there onto Yakpum. Jumped on, going lower and lower. Can he stay alive? They're trying to spam him back up. They cannot do it. Stellar comes up with the kill right as the point gets ready to unlock. But Muma, he fires back. Grapple hook in, manages to roll over Roki. They need so much more than that. Yakpung now eliminated. Dante keeping them in this fight. Point going to be unlocked. Houston nearly capping this one. Envy, the only one contesting at the moment. He's still going lower, and that's going to be the pop out onto the mech post bomb, ready to go from Dante. Does he want to go for it now, or does he hold it? They already have the cap. Seems like the fight's going to be won, so I think he just goes ahead and keeps that one in his back pocket.
It's crazy how many of these scrappy fights Houston has won in this series. It's insane. They're sometimes down on ultimate, so it's down on members. They still turn around. It's the fundamentals that they have. It's the fundamentals that are coming back. The pre-existing synergy that this roster has built over an entire season of Overwatch League that shines through here with their new member Dante joining the field. Defiant will swap comp a little bit here and look for the approach, but no ultimates to speak of.
Yeah, EMP ready to go, tosses that one in, catches multiple members of Toronto Defiant, and 8 is the first one to get eliminated. Yakpung as well. Now we're going to be joining him in the grave. They do manage to find 2 to exchange, so could be winnable here for Toronto Defiant, but they need to find some extra picks. Hacks coming out from both these Sombras. They make their way over onto the points. 40% so far for Houston Outlaws. Ruma gonna be hacked out. Pulse bomb not quite gonna find the stick. So very close, but Ivy cannot get it. Almost would have guaranteed that kill. Loki firing back some Lucio on Lucio action. Gets rid of point. Transcendence in onto the point from Raucus. Keep the rest of the team topped up. Seller just gonna be swinging away. Muma gonna be eliminated. Things start looking rather good here for Toronto as they try to turn this one around.
Teller showing his prowess here on the Brigida, getting that health pack off, dropping everyone down, getting the proper stun there, healing everyone up. And he's actually the reason why they're able to flip this. It was a great job by our observers to show that he was actually the key member in that long, sustained fight. That's what Brigida excels at. It's not just the stuns, folks at home. It's actually oftentimes just that extra amount of healing. The health packs there to keep Yakpung healed up. Armor packs, I should say. That's how they win this fight, but it's going to be a long hold from here. The first EMP is what they're looking for. There it is.
Ooh, shot straight to the face. Yakpung gets a double off the pile driver. Raucus and Jake Sayonara, they are knocked out of there. Ruma doesn't manage to find 1, but the damage is done. 4 members gone on the side of Houston.
And that's the most efficient way Defiant could have held that. It's that EMP right there coming out from Envy. We're going to watch this again. Actually, we're going to take a look at Yakpung. Just a pile driver to set it up. Boom. Boom. It's the EMP that makes it impossible to retreat from this, so it's double whammy there. And now the Houston Outlaws have to approach again.
The ults are feeling a little bit lacking here from Houston. They pulled up a couple miracles. Jake snaps back with only 3 HP remaining. Shots coming in, gets a couple headshots there. Cannot finish them off. The cap starting to come through. Pulse bomb out, gets rid of Linkster. Dante going to be eliminated, however, and yeah, Muma calling the reset, goes off the side.
And now it's suddenly really scary for the Outlaws. Jake's EMP totally unimpactful. Unfortunately, the minefield's been cleared, and now Defiant closer to the next EMP here. They're about to lap the Houston Outlaws in terms of control meter here at 62%. They've got their own minefield. Very, very tough for an initiation right now for the Outlaws. Muma's caught alone.
Yeah, just gonna be zipping his way out the back, making sure that he can stay alive. Yakpung waiting, minefield ready to go. Does he drop it? Yes, he does, right in onto the walkway, and Ivy finds the first kill. Dante's gonna be taken down the minefield. Catches up Raucus. He's not gonna be able to get that Transcendence online. Rally out from Linkster, but has no one really to share this armor with. Is trying to make out of his life. That's going to be the reset. 15% to go. Toronto Defiant might just be able to win their debut match.
It's the melee kill that finishes him off, and the Outlaws have nothing to speak of here to get to this point, to contest it. A sad ending here, it seems, as there's just no way to tag the point here. Already Envy's tracked them all. He's got an EMP.
Dante's pushing forward. He will be able to tag this one out, but they need the rest of the team, and they need them there right now. Jake over onto the McCree. Gonna be looking to pop somebody, but he's going lower and lower. Boink as well, under fire. Nearly goes down. The pulse bomb does manage to catch Envy. He has the EMP up. That's a crucial bingo for Dante, but is that gonna be enough for Houston Outlaws? Another
huge mistake.
Jake gets for the Roki. Ivy firing back. Pulse gonna be in. A double kill for him as Linkster and Jake go into the grave. Knocked down there. Muma's still gonna be alive. Getting closer to that minefield. Nearly has it. Transcendence expired from Raucus. Pile driver in. Muma goes up into the air. Dante into the back, trying to get rid of Ivy. Takes him so very low, but the recall comes through.
EMP.
Now he's going to be stunned up. Dante's going to be gone. Seller finds it. EMP is out. Raucus going to be eliminated. Tries to get a hack. Muma can't do anything. They set him up. He's going to be off the backside. And Toronto Defiant will be able to take it all the way to map number 5, all the way to 3 rounds on Busan. But they do not adhere. They keep pushing forward, and they break down the Houston Outlaws.
What an incredible story here for these guys in their opening match. They were down, but they will not be taken out in this series. Coming back here, nerves were real, but they were able to keep it together when it mattered most. Few small mistakes there on that mecha-based map, but it's Ivy who comes up with those 2 kills there on the Tracer to secure it for them. What a series. I don't think either team could be unhappy with this one.
No, they really cannot. So very close. The reverse sweep coming through. Toronto Defiant showing some hesitation, some weakness, but able to persevere, able to come out on top of one of the original teams in the Overwatch League.
I feel, Achilles, there's only up to go from here, from this squad of mostly rookies coming through their first season of the Overwatch League. And even in that series alone, we saw so much potential.
Yeah.
Just winning some of these fights there at the end where they were down on members, holding on to that mecha-based control point especially was very, very, you know, I didn't expect they were going to do it. I thought we were going to see a flip. We were going to see Envy come back with the EMP, but they held it the entire time. Despite Envy's missed translocator. Remember when he threw the translocator to try to chase in for the EMP?
It's okay.
Messed it up, teleported back by accident into the pulse bomb.
Yep.
And still maintained his composure when he returned to the spawn.
Yep, very nicely done. I mean, Toronto Defiant, I think that they have grown a lot. They have matured just in this series alone. It was quite the marathon for both of these teams, for you and I. But Toronto Defiant, at the end of the day, they can walk away with a victory. But man, what a series. Great way to start the day, and there's plenty more Overwatch action to happen. Let's go ahead and recap some of the stuff that happened, because this feels so long ago. I don't really remember Volskaya.
Well, Volskaya, for those who remember, we saw a lot of predictability in terms of the approaches for the Defiant, and they went into this taking the same right side approach multiple times. They were shut down, in this case, by that grab into charge. Now, this is the time buy we see here where the point is nearly capped. It's the Raucous swap over to the Mei that buys them enough time to get the respawns through, and they had that miracle hold. And look at this fight as well. Looks like it's a done deal. Defiant's got this, right, with the grab coming through, but it's actually not so. They come in, buy time again, and get the defense. Look at the, you know, the top of your screen. You see this advantage to Defiant. They still can't close it out.
Yeah. But man, did they really start to push back after that defense coming through? Houston Outlaws couldn't make it very far on Route 66. Toronto Defiant just short of C. And that was enough, more than enough to force them to that map 5.
And this was, I think, the really big turning point in the series was when Toronto Defiant was able to hold here and have such a good fight here on the streets phase. Moving into Busan, of course, it was very much a back and forth, with Linkser controlling the storyline here with no hit scan opposition. Stellar only briefly swapping over to the Widow to try to challenge him. Did not work out.
I mean, it was like a beautiful start. Look at that. Threading that needle.
Yeah, and it looked like the series was ended, that map was ended there for the first 2 rounds when Linkser had total control. But as he moved into the mecha base, he tried it. There wasn't as much room for him to utilize that Widowmaker scope, and things did fall apart.
All right, well, let's go ahead and figure out who our player of the match is, presented by Omen by HP. And it is
Envy.
Envy, okay.
Envy had some great moments, and he played so many different heroes in this, including the Sombra there at the end. Normally just a D.Va player, and we see him play in Korea, and obviously for most of his career in the Overwatch League, but playing the Sombra together here, utilizing that massive hero pool with the Pharah. He just had so many impactful moments, whether it was self-destructs, whether it was Graviton Surge absorbs with Defense Matrix. It's a pretty easy bet to pick Envy here.
Yep, it's very nicely done, and I believe, you know, Zoe had mentioned it during the halftime break, showing a lot more flexibility, bouncing back and forth between things like the Sombra, like the D.Va, as well as the Pharah.
Look at his final blows here as well. Sitting at the 35, he's one of the highest final blow D.Va players in Overwatch League when you look at his stats from Season 1 and you combine it with his damage output on average. He hits both super well. He's a super consistent D.Va. He's not the D.Va that's going to take risks, not going to throw those self-destruct bombs in willy-nilly. He's very calculated, very safe, and that's why those numbers look so high, because he just doesn't take risks when he shouldn't.
Fantastically done by Envy, by the rest of the squad. But guys, that's just match 1 out of the way. I know it was a marathon, as I said, but we still have plenty more Overwatch action coming up. Next up, it's going to be Atlanta going up against Florida Mayhem. So another one of those expansion teams trying to find a win. We'll see if they can when we come back from the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.